by the government shutdown. Military family who will not get a paycheck. And I will clarify what the president is attempting to say just by continuing more lies being told. So we have big crowds for our shows on a daily basis, and I'll remind people again of this as the program continues this morning. But if I could ask you all to donate $1, you can use Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, whatever that might be. We always talk in this space about doing something. Well, let's do something. This person would never ask for help. This person will remain anonymous, but we would like to try to help because we've all been in that position. And again, $1 a day, I think we can swing that. So there's that. Plus, so again, you can use my various appetizers. They're all at Factsstillmatter. Also, there is any item in the merch store that is sold between today and Friday. Every dollar of all proceeds gathered from those shirt sales or mug sales or sweatshirt sales or hat sales or whatever it might be, anything and everything sold this week, all proceeds will go to them as well. And just a couple of things. There's some new items in the merch store. We have a lot of No Kings oriented items. There's just some really good stuff in there. So all these will be available either today or first thing tomorrow. Depending on where you live, you may be able to get them in time for the No Kings protests this weekend, which of course we're going to talk about because the members of the MAGA Republican government shutdown, they are deathly afraid of you guys. Let them be. So we'll address that as well. So again, a few things. $1 a day. If you guys can help us out, would really appreciate that because all proceeds, and like as always, I will show every single receipt if necessary. If you want to ask, I'd be happy to do that. Every single dollar raised through donations that you normally contribute to the Facts channel over the course of the day will go directly to this family. So we always talk about doing something. This is a great way to do something. So thank you very, very much in advance. Don't forget about our Discord. You can join the Discord by just joining the Discord. Go to the link in the link tree that's in my bio. It's becoming a bit of a link jungle now, but please head on over there and do that. I appreciate you all very, very much. We've already started. Folks are already doing it. Thank you, Samantha. Appreciate you so very, very much. Appreciate you, Samantha. Okay. We obviously need to address this. So this was a statement issued by the president yesterday, early Sunday morning. And the hypocrisy from the right is crazy right now because, to be honest, guys, let them be hypocritical. Seriously, let them be hypocrites because that's their entire game. But for the president of the United States to make this statement, the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. You know who was the president on January 6, 2021. And the thing about it is this is this whole, cognitive dissonance that we talked about last week. And by the way, last week's shows, I think, were some of the best that we've had just because of your participation in it, some of the topics that we covered, some of the subject matter that we addressed. So the people in the Trump cult, in the circle right now, are trying to find ways to believe this. They're trying to find ways to believe it. You can even see somebody saying Pelosi. So here we go, right? There's no such thing as the Biden FBI on January 6, 2021. There is no such thing. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. The reason I wanted to share this as the way we are this morning is because of the quote from Mr. Trump's doctor from his physical last week, claiming that he is in exceptional health. Now, I've had this long theory. For those of you that are just joining, thank you for being here. Appreciate that. We are looking to raise some money to help a member of the extended Facts family who's going to be directly impacted this week by missing a paycheck. Military family. Okay, so if you want to do something, you want to support our troops, we're just asking that you donate $1 a day. Every single dollar that we generate this week through either Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, at Factsstillmatter will go directly to this family. And any sales from items in the merch store this week, any proceeds from those sales will also go directly to them. So if you want to help out, it's a great way to do it. Hopefully we can all swing $1. The first $100, by the way, I'll match that. So we'll get to $200. So there we go. All right. this is one of those situations. Now we can. Here's an example of being objective. When you elect geriatric white men to become the president of the United States, that's the first problem. Now, the situation with Joe Biden's cancer diagnosis, of course, people on the right, even though many men have gone through the prostate exams, I've had one. If you're 50 plus years old, you should have one too. It's about your own health. They don't happen every year. There's a schedule. You don't go every year, depending on what previous diagnoses might have been, or if polyps were discovered, or whatever that would look like. Your doctor then would advise you to say you should come back in a year. We'll check this again, things like that. So for the right to claim that, hey, they were hiding this, they could have been. Okay, they absolutely could have been. Now we can be objective and we can sit here to say that Joe Biden was certainly in decline because he's 80 years old, 80 plus years old. We can absolutely say that, absolutely say that, and that's how you be objective. But for the right to literally be sitting here and trying to say that he's trolling. Again, I've had this long theory that people in the administration behind him, because let me tell you why my theory is what I'm about to share with you. This post is still up. I just checked it this morning. This post is still up. It's still on True Social. So the question is why? Remember when he speaks in all caps? So he's speaking to his base. He's telling them that the Biden DOJ placed 274 agents in the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, confirmation. The Biden DOJ, the Biden FBI, there was no Biden FBI on January 6, 2021. There was none. Didn't exist. But he's saying this to his base because he has to kind of flip the narrative. This is how desperate they are to not allow the Epstein files to go public. The amount of lying that they are doing, the MAGA Republican government shutdown, causing millions of Americans to go unpaid, for thousands of federal workers to lose their job, for people to have their insurance premiums increased by massive numbers. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I've been thinking about it all weekend because I'm impacted. This is everybody, right? Everybody's insurance is about to go up. The amount of which, to the extent that which MAGA Republicans who are responsible for the government shutdown. Here we go. Here's our daily restriction, guys. If you wouldn't mind, please tap like crazy. We need your help to get out to the FYP. So tapping, clapping, gifting coins, roses, whatever it might be, just be active. F1 in the chat, all the shit. To the extent that which they will go through to keep that list from coming out is crazy. Lucky, you're part of the problem. You see, Lucky, you're part of the problem. We're the ones that are sitting up here saying we should be demanding more transparency. Why aren't you? You're comfortable with the President of the United States making that statement on True Social? Do you believe that to be true too, Lucky? You probably do. This is the point, right? To the extent to which they are going to be sure that the Epstein files aren't released is mind-boggling to me. Absolutely mind-boggling. But here we are. So my theory is they're just going to let Peepaw do this shit. They're just going to let him do it. Just more evidence, more reasons why they're going to 25th him, because it will come out. The Epstein files will come out. And there's inside baseball reporting from Capitol Hill that once they get the discharge petition signed, you're going to see a massive jailbreak from a lot of Republicans because they cannot be in a position where they're protecting people that they said they wanted to expose. So again, we're going to go through some of the statements that are connected to this doctor's visit. The attempt for the White House to try to say that this was ordinary. No, not ordinary. In fact, there's been 3 visits. There was the annual exam back in April, and I'm going to read to you the results of that. In fact, let's just do that right now. Do I have that? Yeah. So this was the report from back in April. We're gonna go through the process here. We're going to identify a few things that are really, really interesting. So this is dated April 13th. Captain Sean Barbarella. Sean Barbarella is a DO. I'm just throwing that out there. Nothing against DOs. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, so this is how it started. April 11th, 2025, the president underwent his annual physical examination. Okay, you go one time. We all just go one time, right? So the spinning of the narrative, he had to go back in July, and then he was off the radar for a week around Labor Day, and then he went back on Friday. So it's not normal. Okay, it's not normal. He's being treated for things, okay? These are the vital statistics that they gave, okay? In April of last year, April 13th, he was at that time 78 years old. By the way, the current president, the twice impeached, four-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon, named endless predator, was the oldest person to ever have taken the oath of office. The oldest person to have ever taken the oath of office for the presidency, okay? At the time, he was 78 years and 10 months, height of 75 inches, which is what, 6'3", 224 pounds. Okay? Real quick. I'm 6'2", 227. I checked this morning. Okay. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right? Resting heart rate of 62 beats per minute. And by the way, Patrick Mahomes is 6'2", 225. I think that's the actual count. Resting heart rate of 62 beats per minute, blood pressure 128/74, a little on the high side, pulse ox at 99%, and body temperature at the time was 98.6. Okay. Eyes, normal, visual acuity, visual fields and eye pressure, dilated eye exam was normal. Head, ears, nose, throat. Examination of the head, ears, nose, and throat revealed no significant abnormalities. Thyroid and lymph nodes were normal. Lungs were clear on examination, and a computed tomography scan of his chest showed no abnormalities. Cardiac examination revealed a regular rhythm with normal heart sounds. Cardiac testing included an electrocardiogram, or EKG, an echocardiogram that revealed no abnormalities. His heart function is normal with a healthy normal ejection fraction, and blood flow to his extremities is unimpaired. Everything. No gastrointestinal. His joints and muscles still have full range of motion with normal blood flow and swelling. A comprehensive neurological examination revealed no abnormalities in his mental status. Cranial nerves, motor and sensory function, reflexes, gait and balance, cognitive function, assessed using the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, or MoCA. I found that test. We're going to take it this morning, okay? We're going to take that test. So just a couple of things on that before I get too far down this road. Okay, hold on a second. Give me 1 minute. Tapping is clapping, sharing is caring, friends. If you're just joining this morning, thank you for being here. You'll see the $1 a day. We are attempting to raise money for a member of the extended Facts family who's a military family who will not get a paycheck this week. The president is lying once again. If you'd like to contribute, we're asking folks to do $1 a day. Every single donation that we make, whether it's $1 or whatever else it might be, every single dollar that we raise this week will go to this family. And any items sold from the merch store, if there's some new No Kings merch that's going to be available in there, new shirt going up, Women Don't Owe You Shit, that will also be available. So any and all proceeds from the sales of those shirts will also go to this family. So if you want to help us out, please do so. I've seen a lot of people contributing already. I may not be able to get to every single thank you today, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Let me just find this. Hang on 1 second. Do I not have that? I gotta find it. Gotta be right here. Okay, so the cognitive assessment, which is what we're talking about. The cognitive assessment was just recently made. Okay, so this was the president recently making a statement about said cognitive exam.
but I also did a cognitive exam, which is always very risky because if I didn't do well, you'd be the first to be blaring it. And I had a perfect score. And one of the doctors said he's almost never seen a perfect score. I had a perfect score. I got the highest score. And that made me feel good. When they asked, would I like to do one? I said, yeah. I said, did Obama do it? No. Did Bush do it? No. Did Biden do it? I definitely did. Biden wouldn't have gotten the first 3 questions right. No, Biden didn't do it. Biden should have done it. I'm actually a person that believes that if you're president, you should do a cognitive exam. But last time I took a cognitive exam, and it was a perfect score. The doctors announced it. And by the way, not the easiest test. The first few questions are pretty easy. Once you get into the middle, it gets a little trickier. And there aren't a lot of people in this room that would get every single question right. I can guarantee
you're putting me in a difficult spot.
Okay. So there's that. First of all, I did some research. This is what's called the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, or MoCA. Okay? That's the test that he's referring to. 30 out of 30 would be considered a perfect score. 20% of people who take the test normally get a perfect score. For him to say that is another lie. I'm going to give you an example of some of the questions. Okay? I've posted this in our Discord. If you guys want to get it, you can. These are some of the questions from the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, okay, or MOCA. This is the test that the famous quote, person, woman, man, camera, TV came from. Okay, so I'm going to ask you this question. I'm going to ask you some of these questions. I won't go through all of it, but I just want to give you an idea of this is the assessment that was given that the president thinks is so difficult that most people wouldn't be able to do well. So just as a definition, the MoCA is administered by health professionals who are familiar with the cognitive field. It is a quick, easy test that can be done in office settings. The test consists of a series of tasks that assess different cognitive domains, including attention, memory, language, and executive function. The MoCA is designed to be completed in about 10 minutes and is scored out of 30. A score of 26 or more is considered normal, while a score below 26 may indicate mild cognitive impairment. The MoCA is particularly useful for identifying early signs of cognitive decline and can be a valuable tool in the assessment of patients with dementia or those at risk of developing it. Now, don't you think it's interesting that the president continues to say that he got a perfect score? He continues to say he's got a perfect score on this test. What's going on over here? Okay. All right. Here's the deal. Let me just reset the gift goal here real quick. All right, we're good. So here's some of the test questions on this test. So now that you know what the MoCA standard is, and now that you know his claims that he's the smartest man in the room, right? Designed as a rapid screening instrument for mild cognitive dysfunction. Okay, so this is I'll go through some of the questions. This is the actual test, okay? So the examiner will instruct the subject to please draw a line going from a number to the corresponding letter. For example, 1 to A, 2 to B, 3 to C, 4 to D, etc. Without drawing any lines across, any error that is not immediately self-corrected, meaning corrected before moving on to the next question, is a point deducted. Okay? So you're presented with the letters and the numbers, and you need to draw a line from the number to the corresponding letter without crossing lines. And if you make a mistake, you need to immediately correct it, or you fail. Number 2, the examiner gives the following instructions pointing to a cube and then says, copy this drawing as accurately as you can. Draw a cube. Drawing must be three-dimensional. All lines are drawn. All lines meet with little or no space. No line is added. Lines are relatively parallel and their length is similar. The cube's orientation in space must be preserved. A point is not assigned if any of the above criteria is not met. I'm asking you specifically to be objective. Do you think you could do this? I took the test this morning. This was before coffee. I wanted to see if I could, I was up late last night doing work. I took the test before coffee. And I was like, okay, is this going to get difficult? Okay. This one is the examiner must ensure that the subject does not look at his or her watch while performing the task and that no clocks are in sight. The examiner indicates the appropriate space and gives the following instructions. Draw a clock, put in all the numbers, and set the time to 10 minutes past 11. Yeah. The clock contour must be drawn, either a circle or a square. Only minor distortions are acceptable. If the numbers are arranged in a circular manner, but the contour is not drawn, the contour scored is incorrect. All clock numbers must be present with no additional numbers. Numbers must be in the correct order, upright, and placed in the approximate quadrants on the clock face. Roman numerals are acceptable. Naming. Beginning on the left, the examiner points to a figure and says, "Tell me the name of this animal." Memory. The examiner reads a list of 5 words at a rate of 1 per second, given the following instructions. This is a memory test. I'm going to read a list of words that you will have to remember now and then later on. Listen carefully. When I'm through, tell me as many words as you can remember. It doesn't matter in what order you say them. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. This is the actual test. This is the MOCA test that he was assessed, that he was given. It's not, this is given to lots of people. This is the test. Attention. The examiner gives the following instructions. I'm going to say some numbers, and when I am through, repeat them to me exactly as I said them. Examiner reads the 5-number sequence at a rate of 1 digit per second. 1, 4, 8, 11, 16, 27. Then repeat them. Sentence repetition. The examiner gives the following instructions. I'm going to read you a sentence. Repeat it after me, exactly as I say it. I only know that John is the one to help today. Now I'm going to read you another sentence. Repeat it and then say it again. The cat always hid under the couch when dogs were in the room. 1 point is allocated for each sentence correctly repeated. Repetition must be exact, be alert for omissions, etc. Okay, so I'm going to read you a few more, and I want you to keep in mind what the president said about this test. Let me find it again. Hold on. As you've been listening to this today, as you've been listening to this actual test that he took, and then I've got some amazing sound bites from Obama that you guys have got to hear. It's fucking brilliant. Where is it? Hold on. Shit. Sorry, guys. Okay. Again, you've heard the questions that I've asked from the actual test. Okay, I do see the sun. I see the sun a lot. I go outside all the time. I do touch grass. Maybe you should, Eric. These are his answers when talking about this test.
But I also did a cognitive exam, which is always very risky because if I didn't do well, you'd be the first to be blaring it. And I had a perfect score. And one of the doctors said he's almost never seen a perfect score. I had a perfect score. I got the highest score. And that made me feel good. When they asked, would I like to do one? I said, yeah. I said, did Obama do it? No. Did Bush do it? No. Did Biden do it? I definitely did. Biden wouldn't have gotten the first 3 questions right. No, Biden didn't do it. Biden should have done it. I'm actually a person that believes that if you're president, you should do a cognitive exam. But last time I took a cognitive exam, and it was a perfect score. The doctors announced it. And by the way, not the easiest test. The first few questions are pretty easy. Once you get into the middle, it gets a little trickier. And there aren't a lot of people in this room that would get every single question right. I can guarantee
you're putting me.
Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, so you've heard some of the questions. Let's go through some more, shall we? So let's get into the middle. Let's get into some of the ones where he says it's a little bit harder. The examiner instructs the subject, please draw a line. I've already done that one. Hold on a second. Now, this is in the middle. He just said, as you get to the middle, it gets a little bit harder. This one's in the middle. I want you to tell me as many words as you can think of that begin with the letter S. I will tell you to stop after 1 minute. Proper nouns, numbers, and different forms of the verb are not permitted. Are you ready? If the subject names 2 consecutive words that begin with another letter of the alphabet, the examiner repeats the target letter if the instructions have not been met. 1 point is allocated if the subject generates 11 words or more in 60 seconds. The examiner records the subject's responses in the margins or on the back of the test sheet. How many words start with the letter S? The examiner asks, this is abstraction, the examiner asks the subject to explain what each pair of words has in common. Starting with this example, I'll give you 2 words, and I'd like you to tell me what the category they belong to. An orange and a banana. Okay. The examiner, this is delayed recall. The examiner gives the following, again, this is the middle of the test, okay, that he said got really hard. The examiner gives the following instructions. I read some words to you I read some words to you earlier, which I asked you to remember. Tell me as many of those words as you can remember. The examiner makes a check mark for each of the words correctly recalled spontaneously without any cues in the allocated space. That right there is the person, woman, man, camera, TV. Anyway, I think you get the idea as to what it is that we're discussing, okay? That this is the test that was administered, and yeah. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Because I'm on my Bluetooth.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so I want to give you some more context about the MOCA exam. Sure, it seems simple to us as people who are of normal functioning, but people who have cognitive issues, whether it be dementia or Alzheimer's or anything of sorts, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So
that was my point.
Reading it, reading it doesn't give a lot of context. Also,
right, but that's my point. But Ferry, let me just clear something up. My point is that's the test that he took that he claimed was incredibly difficult that nobody could pass.
Yeah, that's why we already know that. And it's also a screener. So I'm not going to go into what exactly I do, but I'm at the tip top of my field in the mental health field. That's all I'm going into. But this is a screening, huh?
Yeah, I trust you absolutely. But that's exactly why. But that's why I'm sharing it. This is the reason I'm sharing it.
This is a screening tool, and just for an example, what I would usually give this exam for is like when I was working in the emergency room and somebody will come in and I wanted the neuro team to see them, so I would give them this screener and it will give us a baseline for what was going on when they came into the emergency room, just very quick and dirty. And so don't think of this as like end all and be all. Again, we know he's goofy and we know he just makes all kinds of things up. But this is a screening tool. It's definitely not the end all and be all. There's so many other measures for psychological and psychiatric. So the psychiatric team will be like a neuropsychiatric, and then a psychologicals will be clinical psychologists, forensic psychologists, neuroforensic psychologists, and just different stuff like that. They will screen it a little bit more deeper. So just because he scored in the 20s doesn't mean that he's of sound mind and body, I would say. And he he just goofy. That's all I'm saying today, because I'm talking about in my profession, so I won't call him out his name today outside of being goofy.
I agree with you. That wasn't the point I was trying to make. If maybe I should clarify. What I was discussing is the fact that this is the test that he's bragging about that he took. Yeah. As in making claims that he is this Mensa member and or genius. Right. So that was the point I was trying to make. So then, people in the comments were like, "My mom's cognitive delayed and she can pass it."
She probably actually could not pass this. It seems simple to us. So I guess it was more so for the people in the comments and not for you. I think they were misunderstanding what you were saying, and it's more context to it.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's very fair. Again, my point, and I'll land the plane here again, my point is that this is the test that he was bragging about, claiming that no one else could pass it. that doctors have never seen anything like it. These are all his bullshit lies. And the reason I wanted to read the questions to you is because the questions that I read are what he's bragging about that he passed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I get what you were saying, but I didn't want people in the comments be like, my mom is demented and she can pass this. She can't.
Yeah. I got you.
Yep.
I got you.
And,
I appreciate
and the people
that,
in the comments going, goofy. Look, that is all I'm going to use today while I'm talking about my profession. Check me in a few days and I'll call him out his name.
I got you. I appreciate that, Ferry. Thanks for that clarification, friend. I appreciate you. Have a good day. See you later. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. So I think I see I'll bring up another doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just giving examples of what we're talking about here. Dr. Michael, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you this morning?
Fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Oh, so to kind of piggyback on what we're talking about, one, I saw you in that live the other day, the MAGA live you were on, talking about pretty much this, and they just kind of weren't going to listen to you at all.
They weren't at all, were they? That's okay. I'm used to it.
Didn't accept my request, and but
got to stay closer to your mic. You cut out there for a second. Just stay closer to your microphone if you could.
I said I had tried to request up to try and elaborate a little bit more on the health records and stuff, but they just wouldn't accept my request, and they muted my comments, and then
of course
blah, blah, blah. But besides the point, I'm not going to rehash the whole mocha thing because I feel like Ferry did a great job. I agree. It's not the end all be all. And honestly, unless you're someone who has a diagnosis of like cognitive decline or at risk for it, it just is what it is. The thing I was going to
you wouldn't give this test, right? If there was an assumption of some cognitive decline, would you? And or brain injury or whatever that might be, you wouldn't necessarily give this test to somebody who's of normal function, so to speak.
Right. Well, yeah, yes and no. So I mean, if I walked into somebody's room and they were my age and I didn't have any kind of thought that they were having some sort of issue, then no, I wouldn't do it. But if it was somebody who was, hypothetically an 80-year-old who has a history of chronic venous insufficiency and has been acting kind of funny and maybe having some facial droop and all of that, then yeah, sure, I would do it because, they're at risk. But that's all, whatever. The thing that I was going to comment on, just because I had also seen it in the press release, was the whole like cardiac age thing. And I don't know if you had talked about or saw that, but they had mentioned
I was going there. Mm-hmm, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Go for it.
So to start off, cardiac age is, you can calculate it. It's not really a thing. I mean, it's not like a medical diagnosis that you can make. It's not a screening tool that we use on the regular. I work with cardiologists every single day, and I was talking with one of them over the weekend, and they were like, I actually don't think I've ever done a cardiac age on anyone because it's just not relevant 90% of the time. The only thing it's really relevant for is like screening for positive indicators of disease. So like somebody is 50 and has a cardiac age of 80, obviously, then that's relevant. But if you're 80 and you have a cardiac age of 75 or 80, who freaking cares? And their claim that he has a cardiac age of 15
65.
or 20, yeah, 65 is just crazy because like using the values that they give of like 6'3", 224 pounds, and then just using averages for like blood pressure, cholesterol, and those things, throwing them into the calculator, you still get a cardiac age of like 80 or 75. I mean, if you're being generous.
Plus, he was diagnosed with what? Chronic venous insufficiency, right? I don't think that would necessarily point to someone who's got a 14-year younger cardiac age than their actual age, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions in that calculating cardiac age is, do you have any sort of vascular or cardiac diagnoses or issues? And so if you click yes on that one, and then you use the height and weight that they give of 6'3", 224 pounds. If you want to be generous, and use the weight that they give, then yeah, it still doesn't get the value that they're saying they got, which is interesting because it's not like it's a secret formula.
No, exactly.
You can Google it. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I appreciate that clarification. Thanks for jumping in on that, Dr. Michael. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is the whole point of this today is to say that we should be demanding transparency. We should stop electing people who are 80 years old to be the president. Period.
yeah. And I think you kind of hit on it the other day, and I'm sure you'll get to it. But the thing that really cracks me up is with Trump or with MAGA, you always get this like demand for transparency, demand for clarification. Oh, well, Biden hid this, Biden did that. Whereas like with Trump, whenever they ask for medical records or some sort of clarification, it's always like some sort of stock note or stock letter from his doctor that says great health, doing awesome, super smart, great guy, whereas with Biden, while they didn't release his full medical record and for privacy reasons, and that's whatever, they did release labs and they did
Sure.
release full like medical notes, and they
Sure.
were official diagnoses and exams and things, as opposed to basically a letter with a thumbs up on it. Like,
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I want to ask you a question. Then I've got to move on. But somebody from our chat had said, do they age the heart before a transplant?
I do they age the heart of the recipient?
I would imagine of the donor more than anything else. Do they age the heart of the donor?
Yeah. So I mean, they have to evaluate the heart, the organs that are taken from the donor. They have to age. They have to do a bunch of immunologic testing to make sure that they'll be compatible with the recipient. They have to make sure, screen for any infectious diseases. They do like a litany of tests on donor organs. Now, as far as like for the person, not so much, because I mean the assumption is whenever you're getting rid of an organ is they're very unhealthy and they need a new organ, or they're in failure, or there's something along those lines. So I'm sure they do age them to some degree, but it's more about like, is the heart functioning correctly? Is the ejection fraction good? Is there some sort of like connective? Is there some sort of connective disease? Is there some sort of other thing underlying all of that? You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I appreciate that for jumping in today on that, Dr. Michael. Thank you again for the support, and thank you for just clarification. I appreciate you jumping in. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. You have a great day.
Have a good day. You too. See ya. So again, the reason, and thank you for to Ferry and also to Dr. Michael for confirming. My entire point in this exercise is the president taking credit for a test that is at best, or under the perfect conditions, everybody should pass. I don't necessarily think that you would administer it if there wasn't questions about someone's cognitive ability. That's the point. Let me go back to it real quick and just a couple more little questions. Let's see here. Then there's graphs. Then there's pictures. Identify the animal. Excuse me. Here's one. Tell me today's date. If the subject does not give a complete answer, the examiner prompts accordingly by saying, tell me the year, month, exact date, and day of the week. The examiner says, now tell me the name of this place and which city it is in. Thank you. I think you get the point. The hypocrisy that we got for 4 years. And to be honest, yes, hypocrisy, because what we're asking is to hold people to the same standard. So when we got medical information regarding Joe Biden, and he was told that he was in fine mental health, he passed all the appropriate exams, that was deemed as a cover-up from the right. We get information now about Donald Trump's cognitive ability, and we're just expected to believe it. So they can challenge it for 4 years. We're not allowed to challenge it. Again, here's the sound.
But I also did a cognitive exam, which is always very risky because if I didn't do well, you'd be the first to be blaring it. And I had a perfect score. And one of the doctors said he's almost never seen a perfect score. I had a perfect score. I got the highest score.
Again, the numbers based on his age group, the numbers are 20% of people get the perfect score. We don't know if he did.
And
we're just taking his word for it.
That made me feel good. When they asked, would I like to do one? I said, yeah. I said, did Obama do it? No. Did Bush do it? No. Did Biden do it?
Again, as Dr. Michael and Ferry just described, Obama didn't take it, Bush didn't take it because there was no reason for the persons administering the test to give it to them, because there was no question about their cognitive ability. So there's a reason that you were given person, woman, man, camera, TV test, sir. That's why.
Definitely, Biden wouldn't have gotten the first 3 questions right. No, Biden didn't do it. Biden should have done it. I'm actually a person that believes that if you're president, you should do a cognitive exam. But last time I took a cognitive exam, and it was a perfect score. The doctors announced it. And by the way, not the easiest test. The first few questions are pretty easy. Once you get into the middle, it gets a little trickier. And there aren't a lot of people in this room that would get every single question right, I can guarantee you.
You're putting me in a difficult spot.
Okay. So there's that. Real quick, if you're just joining us, you see $1 a day. Thank you for the 1,200 people that are in here. I really appreciate you all. Tap like crazy. Tapping is clapping. Sharing is caring. Liking is loving. Liking is loving. There's a member of the extended Facts family who will be impacted this week directly by the MAGA Republican government shutdown. A military family who depends on their paychecks won't get it. The president is lying about that, and I'll go through that in just a moment. So if you would like to participate and help out a military family, $1 a day is all we're asking. If 1,200 people, 1,300 people all donated $1, you can use my Cash App, my PayPal, my Venmo at Factsstillmatter. I will account for every single dollar raised, as we always do. But we're always in this environment now where it's do something. This is something that we can do. Any items sold from the merch store this week between now and Friday, all proceeds from that will go to this family as well. They will never ask for help. They will remain anonymous. It's just something that we would like to do. So if you're in a position and you can donate $1, please do so. So thank you. Okay. Tiki, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you? I'm on Bluetooth in the car. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, I got you.
I just wanted to kind of look at this in a larger sense. We're talking about this instrument given to Trump. I have a master's degree, and that's not to say I'm smarter than anyone else, but one of the things you learn in these, higher education programs is how to be suspicious of research and suspicious of instruments. And I feel like this administration, that's part of the reason why they're trying to kind of dismantle our education system, so that people become less suspicious and less discriminating when talking about instruments and research and things like that. Because let's talk about the Tylenol and autism correlation. That's day one you learn in any kind of higher education, is that correlation and causation are not the same thing.
Correct.
But this dismantling of education is going to create a population that simply doesn't understand that because you say something, it's not necessarily true.
Correct. Totally agree. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into the whole the compact about 9 colleges and universities, including MIT, that were asked to kind of either align with the political agenda of this administration or lose federal funding. MIT said no, and it speaks exactly to what you're talking about as addressed in the 7 Mountains mandate, which we'll get into in a little while.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you very much. Yeah, we've always said this, right? If facts still matter, what about all the facts we have against Trump? Huh? Maybe you should take the Mocha test. Anyway, okay. So I think we've sufficiently addressed that. What I do want to discuss, though, is that the response in, how do I want to say this? The rightful response from people saying that we should be questioning this, and we should. I want to try to approach this objectively. So again, I was in a live. Remember, I go to Right Wing Spaces, so you don't have to. You're welcome. I don't recommend it. I don't do it all the time, but every once in a while. So people were discussing health, and we brought up the conditions. And it's just the hypocrisy is crazy. You cannot sit there for 4 years and question Joe Biden's health. Even though medical reports were published, they identified issues with his feet. The whole situation, he's now, by the way, he's starting radiation treatments. This prostate cancer that Joe Biden has is going to take his life. Okay, so here's a reminder for men: please have your stuff checked. Make sure you're seeking help. Go to don't miss your doctor's appointment. Have your prostate exams. Talk to your physician. Go to the experts. Okay, please do that. This is going to likely take Joe Biden's life. Okay, he's 80 plus years old. He's got stage 4 prostate cancer. It's aggressive. He's starting radiation treatments. Okay, so I'm just saying. People are claiming that, well, we should have learned about this. Well, that's not how it works. Okay, that's not how it works. You don't have a prostate exam every year. You have a prostate exam. I think a cycle, depending on your age, depending on what your doctor says. Again, I'm not a physician. I'm depending on what your doctor said. I had one at 50. Okay. And they say that if there's any notification or notice of polyps, I think the recommendation is that you come back every 3 or 4 years. Again, I'm not a physician. I'm just recalling my own personal experience, right? So, depending on what your doctor says, trust your doctor, trust the science. Okay, so here we are. People want to say that this was kept from the American public. Maybe it was, but maybe it was. Okay. The point of this entire conversation is we should be demanding transparency. There's no one that can sit here and say, when you're diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, and I just want to make sure I have that definition. Basically, it just means that that's why he became known as cankles. He had swollen ankles because the blood wasn't flowing properly. And he was diagnosed with aspirin. And again, I'm not a physician, but according to reading to the statements, you generally don't give aspirin to somebody who's over 70 years old. I am not a doctor. I'm not sitting up here offering medical advice in any way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm not doing that. All I'm saying is these are the things that we should all question. You cannot look at the president with swollen ankles, with the things that he constantly is saying, blah, 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 every single day. One more just wacky ass nonsensical statement. I've got a few of them that we'll play in just a few moments here. And then have the diagnosis of CVI and then not have CVI addressed. And that's what I was asking, right? When I was in this live over the weekend. And I'll tell you one just incredible moment you'll be surprised by, though. About how I asked the question. I said, how come they didn't address that? And they said, so then I ask probing questions, as I like to do, because I like to probe. Hey now. Sorry, just couldn't resist. When I said, well, if you had an exam back in July, okay, and then you were off the campaign trail and no one saw you for weeks at a time, okay, and then there was rumors that you had a stroke, there was rumors of that you had some heart conditions, and then you come back. And they release information that you were diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency, which again led to a lot of the things that we're talking about here. You would generally, in a follow-up, have a report on that. The fact that they made a claim that he had no evidence of any cardiac instability or deficiencies, I think it gives us all reason to question it. I'm not going to sit up here and say that the doctor flat out lied, but leaving information out is extremely problematic. And then on the cognitive side, I already saw some comments scroll by this morning saying, it's true. What are you calling out? It's true. It's not true. It's not true. It can't be true. In any world, maybe on Earth too, it can't be true. Because there was no Biden DOJ on January 6, 2021. There was none. So again, I'm not here to say that his doctor is lying. What I'm here to say is they're obviously not being fully transparent with the president's health. I think we can absolutely, Biden had no authority. Nikki, Biden wasn't the president. It's not even a question of authority. Biden wasn't the president. Yeah. So again, am I sure about what meme? Am I sure about what? Again, I'm not making the claim that his physician's lying. I just think it's reason for all of us to question it. And if we could just, well, Department of Justice is the FBI. Right? There's no Biden DOJ. There's no Biden FBI. There's no Biden Commerce Department. There's no Biden Treasury. There's no Biden DHS. There's no Biden HHS. There was no Biden government at that time. Okay? So, and then Jasmine Crockett has responded, as she should. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett issued a formal letter to White House physician Captain Sean Barbarella. Sean Barbarella is the doctor who performed this exam, calling for clarity and honesty regarding the health and cognitive fitness of President Trump. Rep. Crockett's letter, and I posted it in the Discord, and our mods can post it if you guys want to read it, follows months of mounting public concern and numerous observable incidents suggesting a significant decline in the president's physical and mental health. Despite these visible symptoms, the White House has continued to assert the president exhibits excellent cognitive health, exhibits excellent cognitive and physical health. Quote, let me be clear. The American people deserve the truth about the health of their president, said Congresswoman Crockett. We've all seen the same videos, the same erratic behavior, the same troubling lapses in memory and focus. If the president is unwell, we need transparency, not a cover-up. Agreed. Let me be clear. Also in her letter, Congresswoman Crockett cited multiple reports of the president exhibiting visible swelling, discoloration, difficulty walking, and cognitive lapses during public appearances. She also highlighted concerning statements of the president himself, including his recent inability to recall fundamental facts about his first administration and his repeated struggles to articulate basic constitutional responsibilities. That whole thing with Osama bin Laden, a month ago, a year ago, contacted Pete, that old nonsensical shit. Water, magnets. I've got a list of things that we'll go through. Rep. Crockett's inquiry specifically calls on Dr. Barbarella, if you know, you know, to answer questions regarding, one, whether the president has experienced a heart attack or stroke in the last 15 years. There were rumors. How do you dispel rumors? You address them. There was all kinds of innuendo. There was all kinds of suspicion. There was all kinds of troubling signs, from facial droop to whatever it might be. Okay? All these kinds of things would lead all of us to have questions. Again, this is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. You saw Joe Biden stumble on the stairs, and all we heard from the right was he's a dementia patient. I'm not making that claim at all. I'm not making that claim at all. I'm saying that based on what we've seen, you would like to think a doctor, someone who is behaving ethically, would respond. So this letter addressed to Dr. Barbarella, who provided this from Congresswoman Crockett, whether the president has experienced a heart attack or stroke in the past 15 years. That's one of the rumors, that he'd had a stroke. That's one of the rumors. Again, I'm only sharing you what has been circulating. I'm not making that assessment. I'm not diagnosing him. I'm literally just asking questions of which we should all ask. You can't claim to be the most transparent presidency and be, without question, the least transparent presidency that I have ever seen. Okay? Whether the president has experienced a heart attack or stroke in the last 15 years, whether health issues have interfered with his ability to perform his duties, whether assistive devices such as a cane or a brace are used privately, the cause of repeated instances of facial paralysis and mobility issues, and the medical basis for asserting that president remains fully fit to serve as commander-in-chief. Rep. Crockett's letter also references a July 25th memorandum from Dr. Barbarella acknowledging the president suffers from chronic venous insufficiency and takes aspirin as part of a cardiovascular prevention regimen, a practice generally discouraged for individuals over the age of 70 unless they've already experienced a cardiovascular event. Just one paragraph stood out for me. This is in the letter. This is on page 2 of 8, the letter that's in our Discord. Since his inauguration, President Trump has demonstrated concerning physical symptoms, including visible swelling in his ankles and lower extremities and discoloration of the hands that have raised legitimate medical questions that demand explanation. Equally troubling are repeated cognitive and behavioral lapses the president has on multiple occasions demonstrated difficulty remembering basic facts about his own or prior administration, such as forgetting that he appointed Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. The president also seems unable to explain his close relationship with convicted rapist in P3DO, J.E. The president may simply be an elderly, frail man with a poor memory, which is why we are asking for clarification. So there's that. Yeah. All right, real quick, I just gonna take a quick little break. I'm gonna play you one of the reasons that the president despises Barack Obama so much. One of the many reasons is what I'm about to play for you because it is fucking savage. This is from the Correspondents' Dinner. This is during the tail end of the Obama presidency. This is savage. Enjoy your coffee and your donut as we hear from Barack.
Get to the bottom of that. And I know just the guy to do it. Donald Trump is here tonight. Now, I know that he's taken some flack lately, but no one is happier, no one is prouder to put this birth certificate matter to rest than the Donald. And that's because he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing? What really happened in Roswell? And where are Biggie and Tupac? All kidding aside, obviously we all know about your credentials and breadth of experience. For example, no, seriously, just recently in an episode of Celebrity Apprentice at the steakhouse, the men's cooking team did not impress the judges from Omaha Steaks. And there was a lot of blame to go around, but you, Mr. Trump, recognized that the real problem was a lack of leadership. And so ultimately you didn't blame Little John or Meatloaf. You fired Gary Busey. And these are the kind of decisions that would keep me up at night. Well handled, sir. Well handled. Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
So this is what he's talking about, and how amazing of Barack, the foreshadowing. This is the picture that he's showing. As they're literally building a ballroom, as they are literally, sconces, whatever, adorning the Oval Office in gold, right? So this is the picture that he's referring to right now in the speech. And by the way, in case you did.
that Trump is filthy rich, but nobody told his accent. His whole life is models and gold leaf and marble columns, but he still sounds like a know-it-all down at the OTB. Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke. Whew.
Damn.
Donald Trump often appears on Fox, which is ironic because a fox often appears on Donald Trump's head. If you're at the Washington Post table with Trump and you can't finish your entree, don't worry, the fox will eat it.
Oh.
And if I can for a moment talk about the birther issue, when did we get so suspicious? Donald Trump said recently he has a...
Okay, there you go. So those things he has not forgotten about. Somebody made this comment in the chat. So Donald Trump's feelings get hurt, and in response, he wants to just decimate the country. Real quick programming break, friends. There's 1,600 people in here. I appreciate you guys tapping like crazy. If 500 of you could donate $1, either through Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo, we are trying to raise money for a military family who's not going to get paid this week because of the MAGA Republican government shutdown. $1. If you can do that, all the proceeds that we collect will go to this family. They'll never ask for help. They will remain anonymous. But if you want to do that, it would be much appreciated. As we speak about every single day, do something. This is an example of doing something. If we could get $1 from 500 people, we could bang that out. I'd appreciate you guys very, very much. Okay, so I just want to just a couple more things on this topic because I think it's absolutely necessary that we address this because we should demand transparency in our government. Absolutely demand it. Oh, somebody just asked. All my pay apps are at Factsstillmatter, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate you guys very, very much. The argument about, well, let me just close the loop on this whole thing first. The memo that was posted described the president in exceptional health with strong cardiovascular, pulmonary, neurological, and physical performance. It mentions that his cardiac age based on the ECG was around 14 years younger than his chronological age. We went through that exercise. We said, we had Dr. Michael come up and talk about it saying, yeah, no. No. Statement says that in preparation for upcoming travel, MAGA, by the way, I don't know if you heard this. I'm going to say this, though. I'm not going to say it too loud because I don't want it to really upset you. The statement says, in preparation for his travel, of which he's traveling now, he received a flu shot and a C-19 booster. I don't know if you know that, but he got his C-19 booster shot. He got the jab. He got the jab. I hate to share that with you, but it's true. Sorry. Hold on. I think I got a message. Hold on a second. Okay, we're good. Okay, so yeah, right. So yeah, you're right. Apparently, it's not a pure blood because he got the vaccine. I mean, he even beat me to it. I haven't even gotten my C-19 booster yet, but he did. Okay. Where do I want to go with this now? All right, so let's talk about the president's claim about paying the troops. This is one of those things that is just so pathetically dangerous because, first of all, his followers, for the most part, don't understand how government works. For the president to go out and make a claim that he's just going to pay the troops is against the law. There's no way within our government that can happen. And I'll explain it to you. Under the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7, the president made a statement. He said he directed... Let's see if I have it. I don't know the exact quote, but he's directed Pete Hegseth. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Boy, there's so much dribble. By the way, True Social has turned into an advertisement. It's crazy if you ever spend any time there. I don't recommend it. I got you. I'll do it for you. He, by the way, crashed the stock market Friday with his announcement about China. So there's that, all that winning. Anyway, he has directed Pete Hegseth to find available funds to pay the troops. No money shall be, this is Article 1, Section 9, Clause 7. No money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. That means only Congress can authorize and appropriate funds, including military pay. The president cannot spend money that has not been specifically appropriated by Congress. So there's a government shutdown or no approved defense appropriations bill, which is one of the reasons there are 12 separate appropriations. Yeah, you saw my video about he's an importer and exporter. Yeah. There's 12 separate appropriations that cover a variety of things, including the military, right? It has to be approved. He can't just do this. So you're being lied to, especially if you are active duty military and you support the president. If you expect to be paid out of a slush fund, then no, not going to happen. The Anti-Deficiency Act blocks unauthorized spending. Congress holds the purse. You're active duty, and I don't have to expect to be. I'm active duty, and I don't have expect to be paid, and you don't expect to be paid. Okay, exactly. Which is part of what we're doing here. So we're trying to raise money for a member of the Facts family, our Facts community, who is a military family and depends on that paycheck, is not going to get it. So you want to help out? Please, $1 here, a couple dollars there. I'd love to try to target our goal today and just raise as much money as possible. Any and all proceeds from any sale of merch items in the Facts merch store this week. And by the way, we've got some new items. I want to thank you, Sam, and I want to thank you, Anachronista, for putting these together. We've got No Kings merch, the only monarch we want, right? More No Kings merch, more No Kings merch, more No Kings merch. They'll either be available either today or first thing in the morning. So please, if you want to pick something up, I'm not sure you'll have it in time for the protest, depending on where you live. If you order it today, for example, you should have it in time for this weekend. If not, you'll just have it and add it to your collection. So please, if you wouldn't mind, just doing the things. Hold on a second here. Okay. Again, the Anti-Deficiency Act, which is 31 U.S. Code 1341 through 1351, makes it illegal for federal agencies, including the Department of Defense, to spend money not appropriated by Congress or obligate funds in advance of appropriations. You're being lied to. Again, it's not going to happen. It's not. The only way that active duty military and other federal employees that are impacted by this are going to get paid is if Mike Johnson and John Thune, MAGA Republicans who are responsible for the government shutdown, open the government back up, which means to do so. So I want you to know this, okay? I want you to know this, MAGA, active duty military who are MAGA. I want you to understand this. The MAGA Republican government shutdown, your pay is being denied because members of your party are protecting predators on the e-files. I'd like to get very, very clear. That is what's happening. Because as soon as the government, and we're going to talk about pro forma in just a bit because Mike Johnson is lying again. I'll get into what the whole pro forma thing is, the whole pro forma. He's trying to make this claim that he can't open the government because I can't swear in Rep. Grijalva because the government shut down. It's another lie. So again, I want to point this out to you. I want to point this out. Active duty people that are in here who support Donald Trump. You're not getting paid because your president's on the e-files. Period. And there's other reasons as well, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Members of Congress, Republican elected members of Congress, are so deathly afraid of this rally this weekend, they're going to lie to you. You're not getting paid because of that. You're not getting paid because of that. You're not getting paid because the person that you voted for, is in the e-files. the person that you voted for is being protected by MAGA Republicans in Congress. That person. If Congress fails to pass a budget or a continuing resolution, active duty military must still work because they're deemed essential. They do not get paid until appropriations are restored. Civilian DoD employees deemed non-essential are furloughed. Congress usually passes standalone legislation to guarantee back pay or to continue military pay during shutdowns. That's happened before. In fact, Mike Johnson was just asked this question on Fox News, and this was his response. You could introduce a bill right now saying I'm going to introduce a bill that we're going to guarantee payment for active duty. That's what Congress can do. They can allocate those funds. They can set aside the appropriations component for the DoD. Mike Johnson was asked this question on Fox News over the weekend.
You mentioned the troops. Let's talk about that because the president has now said he's ordering Secretary Hegseth to find Pentagon money to pay this week so that none of our active duty folks will miss. And I think all Americans agree that that is a priority. So Democrats say on Friday they tried to offer up a measure on the House floor.
They did. Democrats introduced a piece of legislation attempted exactly what we're talking about. Let's pay our troops. Okay.
That would have kept active duty troops paid during any kind of shutdown. They do have at least one Republican signature on it, making it bipartisan. Politico reports this, though the presiding Republican, Representative Mike Bost of Illinois, gavelled a brief pro forma session to a close before Representative Sarah McElrath, she is the Democrat trying to do this from Maryland, could make a procedural move to try to pass the legislation by unanimous consent. Politico says Congressman Bost was working on your guidance. So why not allow a standalone measure for troops?
Because it's unnecessary.
So you meant
because it's unnecessary. I want to make it very, very clear. Very, very clear to you. MAGA, I know you don't want to hear this. In that same live that I was in over the weekend, someone tried to again blame this on Democrats. Okay. That's fine. You could do that. If that's what's going to make you feel better, then that's fine. I'm gonna get into that detail a little bit more, but I don't know if you know, our friend Good Trouble was one of the many callers who got through when Mike Johnson was on C-SPAN. C-SPAN has this show where they have well-known and highly visible members of the administration or government in general. They come in. They have a Democratic hotline. They have a Republican hotline. I think they even have an independent hotline. So Good Trouble got through, and they've been playing this sound on various news outlets. So here you go.
I just want to start by saying, hearing you say that everyone is smiling in the cities where troops, our National Guard, has been rolled into, feels dystopian and insane to hear you say that, watching the response to this. But that's not actually my question. My question, I just needed to say that while hearing you talk about this. My question is, if Republicans and Democrats can agree to a 1-year extension to the ACA subsidies, removing this sort of talking point of illegal immigrants draining our resources as you sit here and lie about this, would you support that bill and bring it to a vote on the House floor? This is a big question that I have for you. Thank you.
Yeah, well, not lying. I'm telling you the truth.
No, you're not. You're lying. So again, listen. If you claim so much about that you really...
I'm begging you to...
Hold on, that you care so much about the government subsidies. If you care so much about the ACA subsidies, then let's have a vote. Nope. Nope. Not true. He's lying. He's lying. So, Fernando, did you say that I'm lying? Said I am lying, big dog? Or was that... I'm just... If you think that Mike Johnson is lying, because you just let me know that because I just sent you an invite. I don't think people understand how significant this is, because this is one of those things that affects everybody, right? We've gone through the exercise, and I want to share something with you from that, just the despicable comment that someone made in that live that I was in this weekend. This affects everybody, okay? This affects the 4,000 or more federal workers that have been fired that aligns directly with Project 2025. In government shutdowns in the past, people have been furloughed, right? And then receive back pay. But now, now it's the directive of the personnel element of Project 2025, of which Russ Vought, the author, of which Russ Vought, the director of ONB. So the office, in case you don't know, the Office of Management and Budget is like the government's HR department. I guess that probably is the closest way I could describe it. They're responsible for personnel. They make sure that the various appropriations dollars get to where they're supposed to go. They work hand in hand with the GAO, which is the Government Accountability Office or Accounting Office. Whatever. Critical. It's a critical role within the government. Russ Vought, who again was the author of the personnel portion of Project 2025. He's the one now responsible for firing thousands of federal workers. And of course, our president says, "Oh, it's just Democrats." And like we're just going to fire the Democrats. They're the ones. Here you go. This is our president. I'll get back to what I was just going to say in just a second.
Russell Vought said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it'll be Democrat-oriented because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people, all because of the Democrats. I mean, they want to give $1.5 trillion to people that came to the country illegally. More important than that.
Nope. First of all, what's Democrat-oriented? What is Democrat-oriented? Civil servants are civil servants. Do you have a sign on your desk that says, "I'm a Democrat, fire me"? Do you guys understand? So listen, this is why we say this a lot, right? People on the left, silver-haired, fingernail painting progressives, we care more about your job than you do. We care more about your children's education than you do. We care more about your kids being able to eat than you do. We care more about your financial future than you do. We care more about opportunity for advancement, fulfilling the American dream than you do. Because we're defending this shit. We're saying, because nowhere in any language from the Democrats in response to this, and by the way, I'm very ultra critical of the Democratic Party, but I'm impressed with how solidified they've been in this. And this is real. I get it. I understand families are being affected. I get it, which is why we're raising money for a military family. If you want to contribute, we're asking for $1 or whatever you can spend. All proceeds raised will go directly to support this family. They'll never ask for help. They will remain anonymous, but we want to do something and try to help. So again, $1 a day, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all at Factsstillmatter, and any item sold in the merch store this week will also go to them. So thank you in advance. Again, we care more about this shit than you do. So you're being lied to. You're being lied to. We're not up here sitting here saying that, we only want health care for Democrats. We only want health care for U.S. citizens, which is true based on the fucking law. So you're being lied to on every fucking turn, at every turn. ACA subsidies, only available for U.S. citizens. Medicaid, Medicare, only available for U.S. citizens, right? There are federal reimbursements, but that's done through the law. You can't reimburse for Medicaid, Medicare treatments. Hospitals being cut like crazy. The $50 billion. This is another great sound that I'll play for you. This is an elected representative from, forget where they were. Oh, here's this little nugget for you. Trump shutdowns. Trump Airlines, 1992. GoTrump.com, 2006. Trump Steaks, 2007. Trump Mortgage, 2007. 6 hotels and casinos between 1991 and 2009. Trump Magazine, 2009. Trump University, 2010. Trump Vodka, 2011. New York City Rink and Carousel, 2021. U.S. government shutdown between 2018 and 2019. And another U.S. government shutdown in 2025. But he's really looking out for you. I just don't understand why you guys will just stand there and just accept these lies that are being told to you over and over again. It's harming you, okay? It's harming you. Then we're going to get back to Trump's mentality in just a moment. This is Mark Alford, who is a Republican rep, again on C-SPAN, taking phone calls from constituents. This is what he was pressed with, and this is how he answered.
Congressman Max in Silver Spring, Maryland, independent.
Hi, good morning. So, first of all, let me address one thing that you just said, sir.
Sure.
You're taking credit for $50 billion that you just gave to the hospital industry. That's after you took away $150 billion. You don't take credit for just giving back a little bit of money after taking away so much. So quit lying. It just makes you look horrible. The real reason why I called, though, was because you keep blaming the Democrats for the government shutdown. The Speaker of the House could turn things around, and the government would be working tomorrow if you guys chose to do so. But instead, you went on vacation. And
bull.
That's
bull, Max. I'm not on vacation. Go to my social media pages, at Rep. Mark Alford. I'm out each and every day. I talked to a veteran yesterday in our district who's not going to get the mental health care he needs because of the shutdown. Caseworkers are in our offices every day, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, without pay. I will not take the blame for this.
You should. So the $50 billion that they talk about, that they like to call out to support rural hospitals, first of all, that's $50 billion over 10 years, and $25 billion is only what can be shared, okay? The cut that he's referring to, the $150 billion, is going to be what's deficient from Medicaid and Medicare payments to these hospitals. So it's the ultimate bait and switch. It's an ultimate bait and switch, okay? Don't forget, last week, right? I think I have this. I'll pull this up real quick just before we move on. I'm not sure if you guys saw this. Buddy Carter from Georgia introduced a resolution in support of Donald Trump winning the Nobel Prize. Did you see that? Talk about the glaze fest. He'll file a discharge petition to get it to a floor vote. This is what I'm talking about how fucking delusional 77 million Americans are in our country. I got a discharge petition you could sign on to, buddy. The one that the overwhelming majority of Americans want to see. So, here we are. Donald Trump does not have the ability to pay the troops. You're being lied to. I'll say that again. Donald Trump does not have the ability to direct Pete Hegseth to pay the troops. It just cannot happen. There is no mechanism to do it. You're being lied to. You're flat out being lied to. I want people to understand that. Okay? So again, we are trying to raise money to help a military family. If you got a buck you can spare, that'd be fantastic. I appreciate you very, very much. So, yeah, Brandon, you guys look, check it out. Brandon is so upset. Look, he's so upset. Brandon is so unhappy. I'm sorry, Brandon. Everybody, baby bottles in the chat for Brandon. Brandon's unhappy. Gosh. It is Patrick Paul. He's so upset. Gosh, I'm so sorry, Brandon. Look, Brandon, I know. See, here's the thing, Brandon. I'm very, very confident and secure in myself. Very self-aware, know exactly who I am. And as a Gen Xer, I don't give a fuck what you think. But the fact that you're so triggered by that says a lot about you, Brandon. Yeah. Anyway, all right, moving on. Just a few more statements from our dear leader as we question his cognitive ability. Here's one.
A crime in Washington in so long, because we got the careers. We call them the careers. We got these lunatics out, and they'll never be any good. You know, I hate to tell this to the liberal media. You could spend time with them. You could do whatever you want. You could send them to the finest schools, which they couldn't get into anyway. Mentally, they couldn't get in. But no matter what you do, they'll never be good. They're bad. They're career criminals. I don't know. Maybe they were born that way. Some people don't like me to say that, but maybe they weren't.
But Trump's not a racist. Not at all. Nope. Not a racist at all. Born that way. Nothing to see here. Mm-hmm. Yep. Not one bit. It's the same people that think that Charlie Kirk saying that if I saw a black pilot, I'd want to make sure that they were qualified. You wouldn't say that about a white pilot now, would you? Of course not. Someone want me to play this again?
Had a crime in Washington in so long because we got the careers. We call them the careers. We got these lunatics out, and they'll never be any good. You know, I hate to tell this to the liberal media. You could spend time with them. You could do whatever you want. You could send them to the finest schools, which they couldn't get into anyway. Mentally, they couldn't get in. But no matter what you do, they'll never be good. They're bad. They're career criminals. I don't know. Maybe they were born that way. Some people don't like me to say that, but maybe they were.
Some people don't like you to say that because you're a fucking racist, you pathetic piece of shit. Haven't done my daily. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, Kat Patel, Dan Bongino, everyone else involved, and Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, Steve, also known as Facts. I'm here Monday through Friday, 8 till noon Eastern time. Fuck you. Have a day. So, listen. Ignore the hypocritical bullshit from our friends on the right. Just ignore it. There's nothing they can say. Let them be fucking desperate. Let them be desperate. What we have to focus on is the things that matter to us. We care about healthcare. We care about dignity. We care about human rights. Okay? We care about our country, right? What do? That's the question. There is a massive rally scheduled for this weekend. The No Kings protest. Okay? It's not some terrorist organization that's gathering. It's not anti-American as much as Mike Johnson would like you to believe that. I would like you to hear, in fact, what he has to say about the rally this weekend. And it'll tell you how fucking afraid they are. This is Mike Johnson again doing the rounds. I'll give Mike Johnson credit for one thing. He's out there being public because he has to be. Because he's got to get the attention away from why the government is actually shut down. So now I believe that there are 2 reasons why the government shutdown will continue through this week. Here you go.
You know, I'm a very patient guy, but I have had it with these people. They're playing games with real people's lives. The theory we have right now, they have a Hate America rally that's scheduled for October 18th on the National Mall. It's all the pro-Hamas wing and the Antifa people. They're all coming out. What? Some of the House Democrats are selling T-shirts for the event, and it's being told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally.
Oh, that's really telling, Mike. Hold on a second. What was that?
Told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally because they can't face their rabid base. I mean, this is serious business hurting real after that rally. Be able to reopen the government until to us that told to us that they won't be able to reopen the government until after that rally because they can't face their rabid base. I mean, this is serious business hurting real people.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it, friends? So, Mike, last time I checked, your office, the Speaker of the House's office, literally has the keys to the government. Like, literally has the keys. The government could be open tomorrow, Mike, but you are so afraid of, this is how No Kings is described. I think I have it here for you. Hold on a second. I think I have it. The core principle of the No Kings movement is nonviolent action. This principle is central to the movement's approach to protests and demonstrations, emphasizing the importance of peaceful resistance to authoritarianism and unchecked power. Participants are expected to de-escalate any potential confrontation and to act lawfully at events. Weapons of any kind, including those legally permitted, should not be brought to events. This commitment to nonviolence is a key aspect of the No Kings movement and strategy to promote unity and encourage citizens from all backgrounds to stand together against threats to democracy. And I'm just watching the comments fly by this morning. It's just perfect indication that you all have been lied to. Because I don't know if you go home at night and say, God damn them Antifa, and then have a smart member of your family, someone who's been educated, they say, why would you be in support of fascism? I ain't. Well, Antifa stands for anti-fascist. So are you pro-fascist? Well, what about Biden? You can let them come up with any claim, let them come up with any statement that they want, let them use any full-on bullshit fucking rhetoric, lie, hypocrisy that they want to. Your job, if you can, is to go to a rally this weekend. There are thousands of them across the country. Invisible.org is a great resource. You can find the link in the link tree that's in my bio, or just go to nokings.com. Nokings.org, I think it actually is. Go there. Check it out. Be peaceful. Go and stand up for your rights. Go and stand up for the rights of others. I'm going to be on the road this weekend, going to multiple events if I can. I'm going to do my best. To try to cover as many as possible. Managed to catch Bernie the last time. I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna be a man of the people. I'm gonna get out there this weekend and go. Now listen, I say this a lot. I'm a privileged white man in America, and I can assimilate anywhere. I'm fortunate to live in a state where the majority of people think like me. In fact, the progressive wing in Vermont politics is the strongest voice in our state. So I feel right at home here. But I would feel right at home in deep red Arkansas, or deep red Oklahoma, or deep red fucking New Hampshire. So if time permits, I'm considering going into New Hampshire. Just to let you know. That's sort of my plan, because I want to be there, because there's going to be agitators. There's going to be resistance, just like we know that, what's his name? Jesse Waters was bringing on the same person who was posing as 4 or 5 different people. He's been busted on that, in case you heard that story. This person claimed to be leadership in Antifa, then they claimed to be something else, and they claimed to be something else, and they claimed to be something else, right? So what we are seeing, the overwhelming examples of violence is coming from ICE by design, is coming from agitators. People are peacefully protesting in Chicago. And the Chicago State Police, J.B. Pritzker, by the way, where are you in that regard? Why are you not directing the state police to stand down? I'd like to know. So please explain that. This is how you hold elected officials accountable. I'd like to know that. It is the fucking Gestapo. Absolutely fucking is. That's where the violence is coming from. It's not coming from the people who are protesting. You understand, here's another example. You understand, MAGA, we care more about your rights than you do. Because you should have a right to peacefully protest the Biden administration or an Obama administration or a future Democratic administration. You should have a right to peacefully protest. And you know what? We support that because it's protected in the Constitution. And yet so many of you are cheering on people being just arrested at a whim. And you don't seem to care. So like I said, we got it. We'll defend our country. We got it. We'll defend your rights. We got it. We'll defend your health care. We got it. We'll make sure your kids have access to food. We got it. We'll defend the single women, the single moms in your family. We got it. We'll defend your gay son, your trans daughter's rights. We got it, because you don't fucking care. You don't give a shit. So back to the conversation I was in over the weekend. We were talking about a Medicaid for All solution. You guys know me. I was cooking, to be honest. And there's no economic argument to be made. People just will not accept the fact that they just don't want everybody to have access to the things that they have. Case in point, a woman that I was speaking to, the conversation was going relatively well. It was civil except for a couple of idiots, but whatever. I was asking about Medicare for All, and there's no argument, there's no economic or social argument to be made against it. If you can find one that's not just bullshit, I'll delete my account today and you'll never see me again. That's how confident I am in it. I was talking, I said, why would we not want to have insurance from everyone? And this woman actually said, because I don't want my neighbor Sally walking up the street, shaking her box, getting some disease, and I don't want to have to fucking pay for it. People who were in the live, that is a quote. This is what we're fighting against. This is why I do this every day. To remind people of, first of all, why it's so important to have these conversations. And second of all, to call it out. Yeah, she said that. Yep, she said that. I don't want Sally walking up the street and shaking her box, is what she said. And I left. I was like, psh. It's one of the reasons that I don't platform that kind of stuff in this space. Yeah, Dano was there. Saw Dano. Verbatim. Yep. I don't take brand deals. Nope, I don't. Unless you want to sponsor my road trip. That I would consider. This is what we're talking about, you guys. This is what we're talking about, okay? And they don't care. So then I listened afterwards. And by the way, for humbly speaking, when myself or RJ or other creators, when we go into these right-wing spaces, again, we go there so you don't have to. You're welcome. What ends up happening is I'll request when I hear a particular topic because they were lying about the government shutdown. We know that. Let me just do this real quick. My favorite part of those interactions, I'll do this hand hurts. I'll do that. My favorite part of those interactions when I go to these spaces is, and I'm a humble guy, but I know my shit, okay? I'm smart, I'm well-read, I know my shit. I know my way around these kind of spaces. I've been doing this for a long time, okay? They'll bring up an expert. Oh, this person's going to dunk on you. So they didn't realize that there was a nuclear option, or they tried to say that they can't use the nuclear options because it was a revision bill, and I said, no, that's not true, and they wouldn't look it up. I said, can you provide that? And they wouldn't do it. And then when you leave, thank you, Lenny. When you leave, appreciate you. That was very sweet. When you leave the live, right, all they do is talk about you. So I went in there, their numbers went from like 115 people to like 450. And then when I left, thank you guys, the chat just ate. Saying you despicable people just got destroyed because someone who wants to care, one who cares for human rights. Someone who wants to stand up for women's rights to their body. Someone wants to make sure the kids can fucking eat, to make sure that we have health care, to make sure that we have access to capital, to make sure we're not getting priced out of the market. Right? It's this tendency, I might even say tendency, it's just it's kind of how the DNA runs. Conservatives don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. They just don't, by and large. They just don't. People who are liberal, we care about everybody else. I don't vote for me. I vote for my daughter. I vote for the person who's bought every single piece of Trump merch there is. I vote for them. Can they say that? Do you think a MAGA conservative is going to vote for my right to my daughter's rights to her body? Do you think a MAGA conservative is going to write to make sure that the single mom who's busting her fucking ass to try to pay the bills, who's got to deal with childcare, who can't work, who's depending on WIC, who's depending on SNAP benefits? Do you think MAGA votes for them? They don't give a fuck. You think MAGA votes for somebody who wants to just have a better way of life, to go through the legal system, to try to do things that are better for their family? Nope. I found this, and I wanted to read it to you because I heard somebody talking about it. Where is it? Hang on one sec. Leviticus 19:33 through 34. Quote, when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Leviticus 19:33 through 34. When a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing among you must be treated as your native born. Love them as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. And that's what we see every single day from conservatives in our country. Those that claim to be Christian, those that claim to be pro-life, those is Leviticus 19:33 through 34. So does that not count? Does that not matter? So when we want to make sure that people are treated with just common decency and dignity, do you not care? Do you want to pick and choose? Never want to accept the fact that Jesus was a brown-skinned socialist? Don't want to accept that truth, right? Organized religion, in my opinion, due respect for those people who are, I'm not going to generalize, but in my opinion, organized religion is the death of humanity. Because people will pick and choose what they want to believe. And then that leads into what I want to talk about now. This situation with Everybody continue to like and share the live. Don't forget, there's 2,000 people in here. Continue to tap and share. Let's see if we can get to 500K likes. That'd be fantastic. Just as a reminder, we are fundraising for a military family who will be impacted by the government shutdown, the MAGA Republican and Donald Trump government shutdown, because they are active duty. They're not going to get paid on the 15th. So we're going to try to raise as much money as we can for them. So any and all proceeds that I get through Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, $1 a day, whatever you can contribute, plus any and all items that we sell this week from the merch store, all proceeds from the sales of those items will go directly to these individuals. This person will not ever ask for help, and this person will remain anonymous. So if you can do anything to help out, I'd appreciate that. I'm sure they would as well. So this situation with I'm not sure if you read this story, but these are the kinds of things that go, well, let me do this one first because this is horrible. As part of the MAGA Republican Donald Trump government shutdown, as millions of Americans will lose their health care and as the ACA subsidies. By the way, I got a final count. My ACA premium goes from $475 a month to $1,490. Nice. Yes. And open enrollment starts on the 1st, which means people have to start choosing their plans. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. Figure it out. Whatever. Figure it out. It's over $1,000 jump. It's almost my mortgage payment. And I'm lucky because that's not even as high as other states. So that's real. Once again, I'm voting for the 56% of ACA subscribers who are represented by conservatives and Republicans in Congress. That's the number. 56% of ACA subscribers are represented in Congress by a Republican. 76% of ACA subscribers reside in states that Donald Trump won in 2024. I'm defending your rights to your health care. You're not. You're not. I'm defending it. I'm standing there defending your rights to your health care. So again, as these the RIF as outlined, RIF is a reduction in force, which is the plan of Project 2025. Part of that is to decimate the Department of Education, as we know. So, special education staff decimated after shutdown firings, according to sources. The nation's special education services have been significantly impacted after Friday's mass layoffs within the Department of Education, and it could have an immediate impact on kids with disabilities, Education Department and sources told ABC. Quote, do people realize that this is happening to this population of vulnerable students? One Education Department leader told ABC. I reached out to a member of our family last night because I understand that they have a special needs child. And thankfully that their special needs child is at the end of the public education curve. But this affects millions of Americans. Once again, special needs kids are not just liberals. Special needs kids are not just Democrats, not just radical woke leftists. Just like cancer doesn't give a fuck who you vote for. Just like heart disease doesn't give a fuck who you vote for. Special needs kids, they don't give a fuck who you vote for either. So once again, we are defending your family. We are defending your children's rights to be provided, to be cared for and respected and given opportunities to be available, to be present, to have the same opportunities as best they can within the public school system that we all pay for. If there's no staff, who the heck is going to administer this program? That's the absurdity of this all, the source said, who asked not to be identified for fear of retribution. Think about that. Person can't even stand up, can't even speak up, can't even put their name on something because they're so concerned themselves that they're also going to get swept away. The department leader stressed that several employees within the Offices of Special Education Program and the Rehabilitative Services Administration, the two divisions that make up the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, were cut over the weekend. Why? Why? Why would we cut that? That's what, if you have an opportunity to call 202-224-31, is that right, mods? Can you confirm? I think it's 202-224-3121. That's a congressional switchboard. Okay? If you're a MAGA Republican here, right? I want you to ask yourself this question. Do you have a special needs kid? Special needs programs in public schools are funded through the Department of Education to make sure that they have access, make sure that that the programs within the school are suited to help your child get an education. The resources that schools get to hire special needs teachers, paraeducators, whatever that might be. A lot of the funding programs come through the federal government. It's one of the big elements of the Department of Education, including civil rights lawsuits. So defending your kids against discrimination in the classroom or in school. Okay? I want you to know that. So if you are a MAGA Republican and you didn't know that, maybe you'll learn something today. Call 202-224-3121. Again, I think that's the number. Please check me if I'm wrong about that. Thank you. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate you. 202-224-3121. That's the congressional switchboard. Ask to be transferred to your representative's office and ask them, my kid has special needs. The reduction in force that was just announced on Friday, because I didn't see that on Fox News being covered. I understand it has impact on the Department of Education's Special Needs Division programs. That's going to affect my family. What are you going to do about it? You know what, though? I'll tell you what. It doesn't matter. We'll do it for you. We care more about your kids than you do. We care more about your access to capital than you do. We care more that your child, that your special needs kid, your unexpected angel, your beautiful gift, your fucking hero, who only wants to be treated with respect. We got it. We'll take care of it for you. We'll call 202-224-3121. You can't be accepted. You cannot accept this. You just can't. You can't. You can't allow it to happen. You won't do anything. You won't. You won't do anything about it because you leave us with some clear assumptions. Do you hate brown people so much that you're signing on for your special needs kids to have programs cut? Do you hate trans people so much that you don't want your family to have access to SNAP benefits? Do you hate marginalized communities and women so much that you'll just accept having Department of Education programs that benefit you just gutted? You ever thought about that? Have you ever going to step back and just thought about that a little bit? But like I said, don't worry about it. We got it. We care more about it than you do. It's wild. More to the story. The agency that enforces the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, again, Anti-Discrimination, or IDEA, the law creating a free and appropriate education for children with disabilities and funds special education services to the tune of around $15 billion, those programs are the ones that are impacted. You cut staff, who's left to administer it? Education department leader called the layoffs to the division ridiculous, contending that families of special needs students will be harmed. Quote, there is an absolute risk that the money to educate their children will not be given to the state, that their access to support and advocacy for their children with special needs will no longer continue because there is no staff available to administer it. The education department is the smallest cabinet level agency in the U.S. government. At the start of the Trump administration, the department had just over 4,000 employees. After buyouts, early retirements, voluntary separations, and a reduction in force, the agency was shrunk nearly half before this happened. And here we are again. Multiple sources have said several departmental offices have now been gutted again, including the offices of Communications and Outreach, Elementary and Secondary Education, and other divisions. A lawsuit brought by the American Federation of Government Employees, the largest union of federal workers, said the Education Department riffed 466 employees, or at least another 20% of the agency's workforce during the shutdown. Do we think all those people are blue-haired radical leftists? How would they know? Rachel Gittleman, the president of AFGE Local 252, believes all remaining offices in OSERS below the senior executive service level were all riffed on Friday. The RIF of OSERS and OESE doubles down on the harm to K through 12 students in schools across the country, which are already feeling the impacts of a hamstring Office of Civil Rights from the March RIF. Civil rights. Do you understand, right? So this is a thing. I don't know. I can't. It's hard to get inside the mind of MAGA. First of all, there's a lot of room in there, but in general, you have special needs kids. Special needs kids don't just exist in blue cities or are in blue families, right? So you have special needs kids. Do you understand that cuts like this impact your kids? Do you not care about that? Do you not care? Do you not give a shit that the protections afforded to you through civil rights protections administered by the Department of Education are now going away? You know, you can look your special needs kid in the eye, and a huge-hearted, grossly underpaid special needs educator who spent time with your kid and gave them hope and so much progress, and just poured their heart into the education and protection and the civil rights protection of your kid, your individual child. The progress that your kid made in a public classroom can be attributed to that special needs educator or that paraeducator or programs to defend your kid's civil rights. Those things are going away. Are you cheering that on? You want to celebrate that so much because you hate brown people so much? Because you hate trans people so much? Because you hate women so much? Because you hate healthcare so much? If this shit doesn't make you angry, friends, I don't know what will. Because it affects everybody. Madame, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Now, you know, I've talked to you before. You know I'm a teacher.
Yes, I do.
35 years in Pennsylvania. And I've been screaming about this for the past year. I've been screaming loudly. And I really want to hear from parents. I really want to hear from parents whose children have found themselves in a much better, more productive place because of special education. I don't want to hear necessarily from teachers because I think we all know what we do. We all know what our role is. But I want to hear from these parents that say, what are we going to do now? Are they going to go back to the closet classrooms? Are they going to go back to the windowless classrooms? Are they going to go back to where the children are pulled out and put into a special classroom with one teacher with 5 other students and they eat lunch by themselves, where they are no longer included? Because that's where we're headed. So I'm wrecked. I am absolutely wrecked over this, Steve, because this is like the final pillar of education that's being knocked out. I know. And I would love to hear from parents who understand, what's happening. But you make me feel better, despite.
Good. I'm glad. I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you saying that, Madame. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate you very much. You too. See you later.
Bye.
She's right. She's right. I just got a couple of restrictions, guys. I'm going to play the PSA real quick. I'll be right back.
TikTok. It is our intention during these live broadcasts to only provide fact-based information to the absolute best of our ability. We strive to never spread misinformation or to platform those that do. Opinions of our guests or commenters are theirs and theirs alone and do not reflect those of the host. Hate speech is not allowed, and we are diligent about policing it. This platform is for educational purposes only. We now return you to our regularly scheduled pandemonium, already in progress.
I guess I have to clarify this. Some people are saying that Donald Trump posted this. This was posted on Truth Social yesterday, 12:38 a.m. Okay, so somebody said you have a lie behind you, sir. I know it's a lie. Yes, we know it's a lie because he said that the Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. Now, we know why it's a lie. Okay? Excuse me. We know why it's a lie. Got more to get into in just a moment here on this topic, the education specifically. Zayra, how are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
No, I just got a question right quick. I just woke up a couple minutes ago and I was scrolling through, and you know how Trump had hosted that rally with all his generals and stuff like that. I think I had just recently seen another post where Trump fired about like 11 or 9 generals. It was like a day ago it was posted.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, he indirectly, I guess. I haven't heard that. I'm not sure. What's your point on that?
No, I just wanted to see if you've seen anything about it, because, it was posted a day ago. I didn't see any real sources on it personally, so I was just trying to see another person's opinion on it.
I haven't heard it specifically. We can look into it, though. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention, though. We can look into it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You got it. Take care. I think it was chiefs of staff, right? Okay. You mean Obama? Wake up? Right. Okay. Anyway, let me take this opportunity just to remind folks, in case you're just joining us, thank you for being here. If you don't follow me, please do join our team. There's a gifting goal today. I would like to ask that the government shutdown, the MAGA Republican government shutdown that falls squarely on the back of Mike Johnson and MAGA Republicans, along with John Thune in the Senate and the President of the United States, responsible for gutting American health care, kicking millions of Americans off their health care, denying women and children WIC programs, denying SNAP benefits, and lying to the American people about it, including not paying members of the military, the conservative Republicans who care so much about it. So we are raising money for a military family that will be impacted. If you donate $1, then we can take care. We can bang that out this week, and we can help give them some peace of mind, at least to be able to pay their mortgage, things along those lines. So if you wouldn't mind, at Factsstillmatter, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, and then any items sold in the merch store this week, including we've got some new items that we'll be putting up today for No Kings. It's one example. We've got this one that I really like. Then there's this one, nope, and this one's my favorite. The only orange monarch we want is that one. Also, there's a new version of the Women Don't Owe You Shit shirt that will be made available as well. We'll get all that taken care of for you guys. So any and all proceeds from any item, no matter what it is, any item in the merch store sold this week, all the proceeds from those sales will also go directly to this family that we want to help. So thank you in advance. All right. Let me go. I want to talk about this now. Some of the things that go unreported, okay? That go unreported, that doesn't get talked about as much because it's not as sexy, right? It's not as popular. Is when there was reporting about, I don't know if you read this story, but MIT has refused to accept White House terms for funding. Other schools are still mulling. So I'll just read you the story. MIT, of course, one of the most recognized institutions of higher learning in the world. Their president, Sally Kornbluth, on Friday said she cannot support a memo that the White House sent to 9 elite U.S. universities last week, detailing policies that they should follow, they being this compact of universities, to get preferential consideration for federal funding. In an open letter to U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon, Kornbluth said some of the policies would restrict MIT's independence and freedom of expression. Quote, the premise of the document is inconsistent with our core belief that scientific funding should not be based on scientific merit alone, Kornbluth said in her letter, which was posted on an MIT website. Some of the policies included in the memo were capping international undergraduate enrollment at 15%, banning the use of race or sex in hiring and admissions and defining genders based on biology, schools that pursue models and values beyond those outlined in the memo could, quote, forego federal benefits. The memo reads, while institutions that comply could be rewarded. This is PragerU bullshit. We'll get into that in just a moment. It's deeper than that. It's much more even diabolical than that. MIT was the first university to refuse to support the White House memo, which followed Republican President Trump's efforts to use financial pressure to force some of the country's top institutions of higher learning to submit to an unprecedented control over who and what they teach. Other universities have said that they were studying the administration's demands and drafting their own responses. California, Gavin Newsom have talked about if any of the California colleges that were on the list. He said, if you abide by this, you're going to lose state funding. So I'm glad. I am so glad they're putting pressure on. Exactly. Who just said that? Hold on a second. What did I do here? Who just said that? All things, Alicia. Yeah, this is called big government, MAGA. Exactly. And I'm glad you said that. The whole lie about how conservatives support small government, you couldn't get any bigger than this and then rolling out U.S. military and National Guard into American cities. So you can go fuck yourself on that whole bullshit premise. Anyway, Gavin Newsom has come out and said, listen, if the colleges and universities in California abide by this bullshit, then you're going to lose state funding. So the right thing to do for colleges and universities is exactly what MIT did. The reason this is important, okay, the reason that them standing up to this is extremely important, and I really hope they can hold, is because of this little thing called the 7 Mountain Mandate. Now, if you don't know what it is, I've spent a little bit of time going down that rabbit hole, and it's scary as shit. The 7 Mountain Mandate is a dominionist ideology within certain segments of American evangelical and Pentecostal Christianity. It teaches that Christians are called by God to take control of or exercise strong influence over 7 key areas or mountains in order to bring about cultural transformation and prepare for Christ's return. Okay, so let's go through this. The 7 mountains are religion, shocker, churches, spiritual institutions, and faith leadership. Again, 7 mountain mandators, dominionists, want this to be a Christian nation. Okay, you can just think about the things that they say and how they say them and where they say them and when they say them and how they say them. Okay? Religion, that would be one of the mountains. Family, marriage, child rearing, family values. Government, political power, lawmaking, policy. Media, news, journalism, information flow. Arts and entertainment, film, music, culture, sports. Business, commerce, wealth creation, economic systems. And the last one, education. Schools, universities, and the shaping of worldview. MIT standing up to the oppression from a Christian nationalist-fueled, a dominionist-fueled government is how we push back. That is an example. Because if all these institutions have shown cracks, religion being promoted, that's a fascist tendency, right? Family, passing laws where women don't have a right to their body, denying access to public health, closing medical facilities, using bullshit conspiracy theories in an attempt to say that vaccines don't work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Government, we don't have to touch that one. The media, all the news agencies that report or say bad things. He said something mean about me. That would be controlling the media. So not only are the 7 Mountain Mandates bad in and of themselves, but when you kind of look at how they coincide with fascism, they line up perfectly. Arts and entertainment. The Smithsonian, a perfect example, right? We want to tell the Smithsonian what to do. Yeah, there's pie. Fish trucker. Yeah, there is pie. There's pie this evening. There's strudel. There's pie, and I'm bringing the chips. So yeah, tonight's Antifa meeting. In case you haven't got the memo, it's been moved to Vegas. We'll see you out there. We're gonna go sin in Vegas at Antifa meetings. Anyway, Smithsonian. Think about what they want to do. They don't want to teach history. They want to whitewash history. You can't talk about slavery unless you talk about the positive signs of it too. Business, right? Corporate power being prioritized. fuck labor unions, fuck worker protections, fuck OSHA, fuck raising the wages, fuck increases to minimum wage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then education. Okay? And then education. Controlling education, cutting funding for public schools, denying family medical leave, making it so unaffordable for communities to even have access to, a bridge too far for Christian, pro-life Christians. A bridge too far is feeding kids in public schools. Thank you, Fine Ray. You're bringing banana bread? Sweet. Just think about that for a second. The pro-life crowd, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. Can't afford to pay for children to have food. I forget the numbers, so don't quote me on this, but I think the numbers are around 15 to 18% of our society, could even be higher than that, would be categorized as food insecure. Food insecure means you literally don't know where your next meal is going to come from. And then there's extreme food insecurity that I think is between 10 and 12%. Families like that depend on public education for their children to get, at least to get breakfast and lunch on the daily. Christians, is it 14 million kids, Paul? Is that right? I think it's, so there you go. So 14 million children, 14 million kids in our country, 14 million categorized, it's probably families. So 14 million families in America categorized as food insecure. Parents foregoing eating so they can feed their kids. And that's a bridge too far for MAGA Christians and for the Dominionists. That's a bridge too far. Once again, don't worry, MAGA. We got it. We'll vote for your kids to eat. We'll vote for people that we don't even know. I've given you guys this analogy, and I think it holds true, so I'll say it again. Progressive leftists, people who just have a heart, who are empathetic, could be 100 people standing in front of me. And I want to make sure that every single one of those people, all 100, can eat, even if one doesn't deserve it. Even if one can pay for it, no problem. Even if one person of the 100 doesn't deserve it, I want to make sure that every single one of them has food. Pro-life MAGA Christians, the same 100 people could be standing in front of you, and you won't feed any of them in case one person doesn't deserve it. Prove me wrong. When we have conversations about healthcare, you don't want to pay for it. Can't afford it. That person, they could pull themselves up by the bootstraps and get another job. That single mom, that Sally went up the street to shake her box. Hey, if Sally wants to be a sex worker, go for it, Sally. That's your choice. Knock yourself out. Be safe, be protected, take care. I wish you luck. But because of that, MAGA's like, fuck them. You have no idea why Sally wanted, to use your words, MAGA, you have no idea why Sally went up the street to shake her box. Maybe she's a victim of rape. Maybe she's trying to run from domestic violence. Maybe she's trying to do everything and anything she can to feed her fucking kids. But that's a bridge too far for you hypocritical fucks. You don't care. You don't care. But we'll spend money on a $200 million ballroom or $85 million for Trump to golf or fucking building mausoleums in D.C. We can afford that. We can afford that, right? We can afford all that shit, but we can't afford to feed kids? That's a bridge too far? Do you understand that every single day when I do this, I think about this, it makes me so fucking angry. Well, I'm doing my yoga to make sure that I can still stand. Every single day I'm thinking, okay, try not to let it make you so angry. But I'm like, no, and I'm having these conversations with myself. I'm like, no, I want people to be angry about this. I want people to be angry. I want people to realize that tens of millions of Americans in our country don't give a fuck about feeding kids. Feeding fucking children. Feeding single moms. You want to call them welfare queens, and yet we fucking know the majority of recipients from ACA benefits, Medicaid, SNAP, WIC programs are always in conservative states, are always in red states. There's a bumper sticker. Feed our kids. MAGA hates children. Liberals protect kids. Democrats protect children. Every day, it's the same thing. The amount of hatred, especially from the Christian right, absolutely kills me. Every day we hear the same fucking thing all over again. Why? Hey, brother. How are you?
Hey, it's your friendly neighbor from up north. Oh, wait, that's not me. Sorry. We're a rich nation, aren't we? Didn't they find $35 billion on a shelf in the storage room?
Yeah, Doesn't Trump 14 trillion. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's up to 18 trillion now. Finally, he finally went up another trillion.
Of course, it is.
Yeah. Anytime someone says that we don't have enough money to do this or that, you need to let them know, whoever it is. Well, we don't have enough money to feed kids or pay for special education anymore. Well, you know what? The president said we're fucking rich, so we're rich. Unfucking believable. Exactly. Man. Unbelievable. Exactly. I'll be quick, but I told you I went in that Trump lip curl girls live. I sat in the shadows on Saturday night from about midnight till 6 a.m. and I clipped a good amount of a Democrat come up talk about she has 2 special needs kids and the cuts, the people that got fired on Saturday are gonna affect her, and these fucking MAGA people were yelling at her. It's about the cruelty. It's about the cruelty. But you know what? We're rich, so we can afford it. The country is rich.
Correct.
It's hot. Goodbye.
Correct. I appreciate you, buddy. Talk to you tonight. See you later. Peace out. Again, it's the hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy. What about feeding the poor? Healing the weak, healing the sick. Again, the 7 mountains are religion, family, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business. Everything we see, either from a policy perspective or from a rhetoric perspective, you're right, Michelle, from a policy or rhetoric perspective, all aligns with the 7 mountain mandates, which connects to Project 2025, which connects to Christian nationalism, which connects to authoritarianism. This is why we have these conversations, you guys, because we got to stop talking about it as if we're approaching authoritarianism. Oh, no, it's fucking here. You've got the United States military and the National Guard being deployed to American cities. It's here. We got to stop denying it. Okay, so back to the 7 mountain mandates component. Just again, another reminder, 1,500 people, if you're just joining us, we're attempting to raise money for a military family, member of our community that would never ask for help, that would absolutely never ask and will remain anonymous, but we're going to try to do what we do around here. So we're asking for $1 a day. If you got $1 you can spare, you can use my Cash App, my PayPal, my Venmo, which is at Factsstillmatter, because they are going to miss a paycheck because Donald Trump is lying to you, absolutely lying to you that he's going to find money to pay the troops. It's a lie. He can't do it. Okay, so we'll step in and try to help. So we're going to raise as much money as we possibly can. Any item that you purchase from the merch store, which you can find at factsstillmatter.site. Link is in my bio. It's a Facts HQ. Any and all proceeds from the sale of any items that we get there from this week will go to this family as well. So let's help them out. Let's see what we can do. Let's try to help them out. Thank you. Okay. The concept, the 7 mountain mandate. I'm gonna go through this exercise because I'm gonna give you some prominent names who are directly connected with the 7 mountain mandate in our government, okay? Dominionism in general. The concept originated in 1975 when evangelical leaders Bill Bright from the Campus Crusade for Christ and Lauren Cunningham from Youth with a Mission, or WYAM, each said they received a divine vision listing 7 areas Christians should influence. Later, Francis Schaeffer and others popularized similar ideas about cultural engagement. In the 2000s, leaders such as Lance Wallnau and C. Peter Wagner reframed it into a more explicit political and prophetic movement called the 7 Mountain Mandate. Dominionism concerns, critics say, it blurs the line between church and state, you think, and promotes a theocratic vision of governance. Some adherents, including figures connected to the Christian nationalist movement, use it to justify influencing or capturing political institutions. And in mainstream Christianity, many Christian denominations reject the mandate as an unbiblical conflation of faith and secular power. In recent years, the Seven Mountain Mandate has been linked to Christian nationalist rhetoric, especially among certain right-wing pastors, politicians, and activists who frame political engagement as a divine calling. It often surfaces in contexts such as endorsements of specific candidates seen as chosen by God. Don't forget, Paula White, who is the director of the Office of Faith in the White House, that's like 4 doors down from the president, and she has said that he was chosen by God. We see MAGA supporters all across the country at rallies with these imagery connecting him to God. All these kinds of things. Robert Morris, who used to be Donald Trump's faith advisor, connected to the same kind of movement, recently pled guilty to abusing a 12-year-old girl, for years. Sentenced to 12 years, and that motherfucker got a 6-month sentence. Okay? Those people. Calls for spiritual warfare over mountains like media and government. The deep state, radical leftists, enemy to the state. They're taking away your freedoms. They're taking away your liberties. They're the enemy. They're the threat. It's all routed in this shit. And then use of revivalist or prophetic language around elections. Christians, just vote this election. You won't ever have to vote again. Remember that statement? Using certain phrases, and I've said this before, that the way in which MAGA messages is directly connected to this bullshit. Think about all the institutions. All the institutions that they've told you for years are out to get you, right? Religion, family, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business. Every single one of them. Every single one of them they've been told you that they're a threat to your way of life, your Christian way of life. Every single one of those groups, every single one of those institutions are considered threats. Okay. I'm going to give you some names of people you'll recognize. Some you may not, some you will for sure, who are connected to Seven Mountain Mandate, the Dominionism. Lance Wallnau, evangelical charismatic leader, one of the foremost popularizers of the Seven Mountain model. He frames political engagement as spiritual warfare and has been called a Christian nationalist. C. Peter Wagner, who has recently passed away, theologian and apostle in the NAR, often regarded as one of the architects of the Dominion theology. He helped shift the narrative toward the idea that Christians should reshape society, including via spiritual warfare. Paula White Cain, televangelist, spiritual advisor to Trump, who speaks in tongues. Though not formally part of this group, she is often seen as a bridge between charismatic networks and political spheres. White has promoted Seven Mountains in her ministry. Johnny Enlow, author, speaker, named by some sources as an advocate of Seven Mountain ideas. Andrew Womack, evangelical teacher, listed in some summaries as among those who claim to support the movement. John P. Kelly, apostle leader, as presiding apostle of the International Coalition of Apostolic Leaders, or ICAL, he is connected to NAR networks. His leadership is tied to spreading the kingdom of God in all speeches, on all aspects of society, which corresponds with Seven Mountain Mandate strategy. Here's a list of names that you'll know for sure. Political figures and activists. CK, conservative activist, founder of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Faith. He's embraced Christian nationalism rhetoric, publicly referenced the Seven Mountain Framework, and has been identified by critics as a rising leader in the Seven Mountain Mandate influence networks. Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, listed in some accounts as aligned with NAR and Christian nationalist circles, and speaks the way in which he speaks directly comes from Seven Mountain Mandate. Lauren Boebert, U.S. Rep, named by sources associated with Seven Mountain influence. She's the one that said there should be no line between church and state. She's also dumb at the post because she thinks the Declaration of Independence is what gives us our rights and freedoms, but that's a different conversation. Michelle Bachmann, former U.S. Rep and a candidate for president, sometimes included in lists of politicians connected or sympathetic to the Seven Mountain Mandate. And then Tom Parker, Chief Justice, Alabama Supreme Court, mentioned in some lists of public officials tied to Seven Mountain beliefs. Degrees of affiliation vary. Some of the above are overt promoters. Others are named by critics based on statements, networks, or associations. Some are labeled dominionists, even while adopting some of its strategies or language. And the movement itself is decentralized and loosely organized. It doesn't have formal leadership, which means influence is more throughout the network, media, and spiritual alignment than institutions themselves. Here's an example of some of the things that CK has said about Seven Mountains. According to reporting in a 2020 conference at CPAC, CK praised President Trump by saying, quote, "Finally, we have a president who understands the seven mountains of cultural influence." Although he doesn't always didn't use the precise theological language, critics and analysts note that Kirk had endorsed the Seven Mountain Mandate and aligned Turning Point's faith branch with its themes. Turning Point is pushing for PragerU to be the standardized curriculum across America. PragerU connected to Seven Mountain Mandates. According to public witnesses at Word and Way, Turning Point shifted towards Seven Mountains ideology in around 2019 and in 2020, as CK publicly asserted that Trump was the first president to understand the seven cultural domains. The same source describes how Kirk began to frame the role of the church as needing to be, quote, "in every single domain of our society every day." In Baptist news, analysts described how Kirk and others in his network assert that God's appointed leaders should govern each mountain, suggesting that Christians should occupy key positions of influence. Critics also point out that Kirk's rhetoric rejected a sharp separation of church and state. For instance, he once said, "Separation of church and state is just a fabrication." He and affiliated pastors have described cultural battles in spiritual terms, seeing, quote, "wokeism, secularism, Marxism as a direct threat." Yeah, that shit's real. That shit is very fucking real. This is the stuff that we talk about. Well, this is the stuff that we talk about because our mainstream media is failing us because they won't talk about this shit. They won't. It is fair. It's fucking really fucking scary. I don't give a shit what you believe. I really don't. I believe in your freedom of religion and freedom from religion. I firmly believe that. Excuse me. Sorry. I believe in that. Once again, people on the left believe in the Constitution much more than the people who claim to support it so much. Right? So here we are. What are we supposed to do? You're right. They want to remove free will. You're right, Paul. They want to remove free will. They don't believe in freedom of religion. They do not believe in it. That's what the seven mandates teach. That they expect their desire, their focus, their belief is that Christians should be running our society. That's what they believe. That's what they believe. They want never mind just Christians, but Christian nationalists. That's what they believe. It's why we talk about 1930s Germany as much as we do. That's what they believe. They want Christian nationalism, Seven Mountain dominionism to take over our society. Because you always ask yourself, where does this come from? But it's consistent, right? It's always the same thing. There's always a Christian nationalist tone that's mixed in there. Always. We can't send our kids to these liberal indoctrination factories, colleges. Public education system denies conservatives their voice. Business leaders in Silicon Valley are Marxist. Government is run by a bunch of George Soros paid antagonists who don't care about our Christian beliefs. Arts and media run by the Jews, as they like to say. Everything across the board. We hear it. It's now in policy. We see it all over the place. We can't provide food for sinful Sally who wants to walk up the street and shake her box because it doesn't align with our beliefs. So I'm glad that I'll land my plane here. I'm glad that MIT has stood up. I'm glad that MIT has stood up and said, you know what? We're gonna be independent. We're not gonna succumb to the pressure that the administration has put on us, because think about what the compact is. They literally do not want colleges and universities to be able to be independent and teach what they choose to teach. I think somebody mentioned this earlier. One of the fascistic commonalities of fascism and the rise of authoritarianism is to go after smart people. I'm smart. I'm damn proud of my education. I busted my ass for it, paid for it myself. I'm smart. I'm confident enough to say that. And I think people on the right are threatened by people who are, because we know how to critically think. We know how to navigate through this bullshit. We know how to question things. We don't just sit there and mainline the rhetoric. That's what they're afraid of. That's why they don't want history to be taught.
Smart people don't like me.
Exactly. They don't want to talk about chattel slavery. They don't want to talk about how the country was built on the backs of slaves. They don't want to talk about how the origin of our country was founded on white supremacy. They don't want to talk about any of that. They don't want to talk about the G-side of the indigenous population as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. They don't want to talk about any of that. None of it. Why? I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's necessary. So history doesn't repeat itself. Got it. We spend time in this space talking about these things, friends, because our legacy media, for whatever reason, and to me it's about dollars and cents, right? They need access. They can't call this shit out because they'll lose access, especially now under authoritarianism and the Seven Mountains mandate. So when you start to see policies, for those of you, put a 1 in the chat. If you put a 1 in the chat, is if this is the first time you've heard that in depth into the Seven Mountain mandates. So 1 in the chat if this is like the first time that you've been exposed to this. I'm just curious. Lots of 1s. See what I mean? Lots of 1s. So I want you to think about that, right? Because this is the plan. This is the fucking playbook. Project 2025. What am I looking for? I know. You're right about Dark Enlightenment. Well, that's going to be a different show. Project 2025 is the Seven Mountain Mandates handbook. Okay? Mike Johnson is a Seven Mountain Mandate guy. Mike Johnson, who is his son's corn accountability partner. Mike Johnson, Lauren Boebert, and others, Paula White, other members of the administration. Pete Hegseth, another one. These are Christian nationalists, friends. They don't give a fuck about democracy. They don't care. They do not give a fuck about your rights and your liberties. They don't care. MAGA conservatives, they don't give a fuck about your freedom. That's it. They don't fucking care. You either comply with everything they say or you're out of the club too. Do you understand that? Now, I know that there's a lot of MAGA voters that aren't necessarily Christian. Do you understand that if you don't get on board with this agenda, then you're just like the blue-haired liberals. You're going to be tossed in a fucking pile as well because you're considered a threat. Why don't you want to talk about it? Why can't you call it out? Why can't you sit there and say to your elected officials, listen, I've got a special needs kid. First they came for, you're exactly right. I got a special needs kid. How come Fox News doesn't talk about these special needs programs within the DOE being gutted? How come? How come? How come they won't tell you that? How come they won't tell you the truth about the government shutdown? How come? Why is that? How come they won't tell you the truth about the No Kings protest, which is this weekend? Because we know what's going to happen, friends. There are going to be agitators there, and they're going to use it as an excuse. So here's my call to white men. Okay? White men who have been either apathetic and or, you get comfortable in your blanket of privilege. I expect to see your fucking asses at the No Kings protest this weekend across the country. I expect to see you side by side with marginalized communities who are out there fighting every fucking day. Every day. Every fucking day. My expectation is that you stand between those marginalized communities and harm. I expect every fucking one of you to do it. Use your fucking privilege. That's what I want to do when I go out on the road. And there's things that have been happening. We're trying to put these pieces together. There's a real possibility this might happen. I want to go and call out other people who look like me. I expect you to be there, guys. I expect you to go. Clear your fucking schedule. Find out where there's a rally in your town and show the fuck up. And stand there as an accomplice in the fight. Because marginalized communities do it all the fucking time. Women in America having to defend their rights to their own fucking body. Think about that for a second. Women in our country having to defend rights to their own body because Christian nationalists want to take over our government. Gentlemen, where the fuck are you? Why the fuck are you not showing up? Be there, arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder. Put your body between themselves and harm. That's my expectation. Black women, we talk about this all the time. Every fucking time democracy's under threat, they show the fuck up. Some that I've spoken to are like, I'm done. That's because of people who look like me, men in particular. White men, white women are holding our society back. They are holding us back. Conservatives, by and large, like I said, I remove the R and the D. You are either a conservative or you're a progressive. There are conservative Democrats too. You are either for moving society forward or you're not. So where the fuck are you? Gentlemen, white people, I would like to look at video and footage from these rallies this weekend, especially in communities that would be considered have a higher population of marginalized individuals. I would like the video to show white men and white women standing there in defense and support of our marginalized friends, brothers and sisters, and non-binary individuals. Where the fuck are you? Where the fuck are you? Because our government does not expect you to show up. Our government does not expect white men and white women to respond to the call because they feel like you're going to just be comfortable, like you don't want to upset the apple cart. I'm good with my privilege. I can go anywhere I want. Not me. Nope. Every single day, I'm trying to figure out how I can use my fucking privilege. And I live in an area where, I'm lucky. I must admit, I even have more privilege because I can live in a state where most people who live here in the land that doesn't exist believe what I believe. That's why I'm going to try to go to New Hampshire. Schedule works out. I'm going to go into that spot. I'm going to sit there. I'm going to stand in support and solidarity as an accomplice with my marginalized brothers and sisters. Where the fuck are you, white people? Where the fuck are you? It's time to show the fuck up. Where the fuck are you? Every day, we're asking people in our country who are under threat by our government, marginalized communities in general, under threat by our government. They're always there, defending their own rights. Where the fuck are we, white people? Where the fuck are we? I wish I could drive to DC. I wish I could. I got so much going on right now. I'm finding the time to go to New Hampshire. Wish I could go further, but I just can't. But do what I can. I wish I could. Where the fuck are you, white people? Where the fuck are you? Where are you? Do you prescribe? I mentioned this earlier, the conversation that I was part of over the weekend. Where the fuck are you? Yes, thank you, Sam. In support and as part of solidarity, we are showing up for a member of our extended Facts family, who's a military family, who is not going to get paid this week because of the MAGA Republican, ultra-conservative Seven Mountains fucking shutdown. So we're going to step up. So if you guys got $1 that you can spare so we can raise some money for a military family, active duty military, donate to at Factsstillmatter at Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. And a reminder once again, every single dollar of items that we sell in the merch store this week, all the proceeds from that will go directly to this family. They won't ask for help. They will remain anonymous. But this is what we do. White people, where the fuck are you? I want you to get fucking mad. I want you to get fucking angry. And due respect, get rid of your fucking privilege, put it aside, and use it for a change. You're going to hear me say this a lot over the next few weeks. I am desperately trying to find more ways to use my privilege. And I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to figure it out. And I've got big picture ideas, and there's people in our community know what I'm talking about, and I want to use it. I want to use it. And I wish more people had the same desire, whether it be the white dudes or Harris crowd or whatever that might be. It's time. It's long overdue. And the MAGA conservatives, and they've been right all along. They've been right. Don't think Americans will respond. They are afraid. You can find the link, Bertie. You can find the link. It's all my pay apps are at Factsstillmatter, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. The links are in my bio. They're afraid. Mike Johnson said it out loud. They're afraid. They are afraid. They're afraid of people showing up. This Saturday is going to tell us a lot. Okay? This Saturday is going to tell us a lot about how much resistance there actually is among the American citizenry. If the estimates are true, we could see 50 million people protesting. I don't expect it to get that high, but who knows? My expectation, white people, white men in particular, is that you are front and center in this protest. Front and center, standing arm in arm with women, with marginalized communities. That is my expectation. And I'll be grossly disappointed if I don't see it. Be safe. Okay? Be safe. Is that what, did Pam, the Department of Justice is building a firearm registry? Well, there you go. Not surprised by that. Okay. As a reminder, these are the things that our Homeland Security Secretary is saying.
What this is and what damage it is doing to our country, and how this network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years. And today is the day that we have a president that won't tolerate it and will stand up and fight for the American people. So thank you for being here, for being so bold, and for standing in the gap at such a time as this. It will matter. It will make a difference, and your life will be one of significance because of what you've done today. So with that, God bless you, and thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Christy Noem, you know, I don't know if you saw the SNL, the cold open with Tina Fey as Pam Bondi, with Amy Poehler as Pam Bondi and Tina Fey as Christy Noem. It was fucking beautiful. It was beautiful. It was just beautiful. Let's see. Dana, let me just double check. Got it, Dano. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. I just want to remind folks that back in January of last year, 2024. So what we're talking about now is Christy Noem and her team justifying and then salivating and literally getting off on. This is like the cruelty and watching brown-skinned people be ripped from their families and children being zip-tied. This is like fucking bukkake for conservative Republicans. They're fucking into it. They're like way into it. They're getting off on it. So this was a year ago. If you don't know what bukkake is, look it up, but don't do it at the office settings. This was Kristi Noem a year ago when talking about exactly what they're doing now, federalizing the National Guard to go into communities and or violating the Posse Comitatus Act to active duty personnel so that they can do the same. This was Kristi Noem's approach to that just a year ago.
So what Joe Biden is doing is threatening our state sovereignty. And if he does federalize the National Guard, the Texas National Guard, that'll be unprecedented. That is actually activating federal guard and telling them to stand down and not protect the United States. I don't think we've ever had soldiers activated and told that they were being activated so that they would not protect and defend the United States of America. So we're in unprecedented times, and I'm incredibly proud of the men and women that are here on this border today, making sure that they're trying to slow down this invasion. So
that was from January 27th of last year. She is now the Secretary of Homeland Security, and she is doing exactly what she was criticized in the Biden administration of doing, even though the Biden administration did not do that. Here's the sound again.
What Joe Biden is doing is threatening our state sovereignty. And if he does federalize the National Guard, the Texas National Guard, that'll be unprecedented. That is actually activating federal guard and telling them to stand down and not protect the United States. I don't think we've ever had soldiers activated and told that they were being activated so that they would not protect and defend the United States of America. So we're in unprecedented times, and I'm incredibly proud of the men and women that are here on this border today, making sure that they're trying to slow down this invasion. So what Joe Biden is doing is...
What invasion? So that's the ultimate question, right? You were critical of the Biden administration for not doing anything about said invasion. You said it was unprecedented for them to do that. Meanwhile, you're using what you refer to as an invasion to justify the use of the National Guard. It is the epitome of hypocrisy. What's the note here? Mods, the note about reading the note Kings in 501-5150. Can somebody send me that or post it in here so I know exactly what I should be reading? Because I'd be happy to cover it. So that's Kristi Noem, right? Don't forget, just recently, all the controversy regarding the training of Qatari fighter pilots. And I think I made an error when I mentioned this on Friday. It's not like we're building a base, but there's going to be a facility constructed so that Qatari fighter jet pilots can be trained on U.S. soil. I just want to point something out that there's been quite a few interesting relationships recently with the Qatari government and the Trump administration in particular. Qatar gives Trump billions of dollars. We know that. We know that the Qatari royal family was invested in World Liberty Financial, simultaneously getting preferential access to the NVIDIA chips. Qatar gives Donald Trump a luxury jet, and now they're going to be able to train on U.S. soil. I say that because it's interesting, because just a few short years ago, this is what our president had to say about that same Qatari government.
Unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism. At a very high level.
No.
And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road, or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have to stop the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people, the time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding. And its extremist ideology in terms of funding.
It's not AI. You guys got to be kidding me, guys. It's not AI. It's from his first administration. It was from 2017. It was 8 years ago. It's not AI, Vic. It's not AI. It was an actual statement that he made. Oh my God. Hold on a second. I hate to have to do this, but I'll do it. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road, or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have to stop the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people, the time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding.
Okay, so can we put that to rest now, please? Hold on. Not AI. Okay? But he sounds a lot different, doesn't he? It's not AI. Okay? So how is it then? How is it that the American president, during his first administration, would say that they are one of the biggest sponsors of global terror? One of the biggest sponsors there is of global terror. Calling nations around the world to have to stand together to push back about Qatar's involvement in global terror and funding global terror. You like my wood ceiling? You like my wood ceiling? Thank you. Appreciate that. Anyway, and then you negotiate access to funds from the Qatari government so you can build golf courses. You can build Trump properties. You can have access to Qatari money to invest in World Liberty Financial. There's lots of Qatars, Isaac. Yeah, there's like 12 in my house. And yet, just a few short years ago, calling them the number one sponsors of global terror. It's the hypocrisy, right? It just shows you that our president will bend over, literally, grab his ankles, raw dog style, as long as somebody is willing to give him money. Yep. Exactly. So, president is under fire. This is reporting from Newsweek. This story was from a few years ago, or from a few months ago, back in May. Under fire, including from some of his supporters, for saying he plans to accept a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar as a temporary replacement for Air Force One, a gesture of goodwill that marks a sharp contrast to his own past characterization of the Gulf nation as a sponsor of terror. 2017 clip that I just played for you publicly accused Qatar of funding terrorism at a very high level. Maggie, you want to explain that to us? So, once again, they will try to find ways to say that this was the Biden administration's plan. Now, we've trained other air forces. That's not my point. That's not my point at all. My point is that he got the jet. He got funding from the Qatari government almost simultaneously. Steve Witkoff, by the way, who was his emissary, was negotiating a deal so that the Qatari government could have preferential access to NVIDIA chips. At the same time, a $2 billion donation went into World Liberty Financial, like almost simultaneously. And MAGA, where is your calling out of that blatant corruption? Well, Hunter Biden sold a fucking artwork for like $12 million. And Hunter Biden's cock poster was displayed all over Congress. Nothing to see here, though, right, MAGA? Nothing to see. Nothing to see at all. And people in our country are starving. Women's rights to their body are being gutted. And by the way, it's coming. You are going to see, if Democrats do not win the midterms, then you are going to see a bill introduced in Congress banning abortion nationwide. They're going to start going after mifepristone. They're going to make it illegal, which means even if you're in a blue state, you're not going to be able to get it. Nothing to see here, though, right? Okay. Okay. That's fine. Nothing to see here. Okay. Here's a little bit more about the government shutdown and about the hypocrisy and the blatant fucking lies. The blatant fucking lies. Yeah, you're right. Contraception's next. Yeah, literally. Yep. Okay. So this is, again, how we're supposed to be able to fund the government. All right.
So well, so strong now. And you saw where the tariffs came in at $4 trillion. $4 trillion. $4 trillion. Okay. And the CBO, they just announced it. I told them that was going to happen, but they refused to give us credit for it. Now they're giving us credit because the money is flowing in. Our country is doing so well, so strong.
So $4 trillion. Okay, well then what's this one? Hold on a second. That was $4 trillion. Then there's this one.
So we have, at this moment, I think we just cracked $18 trillion in commitments and investments. And
wow, those statements are 2 days apart. So we went from $4 trillion to $18 trillion in 2 days. If we're bringing in all this money, then why the fuck is the government shut down? If it's $18 trillion, which would be half of our national debt, then where's all the money coming from? I mean, why are we not getting it? That's weird. That's really, really wild. President is so confident that we're getting all this money coming in. He said this.
Might make a distribution to the people, almost like a dividend to the people of America.
Oh. How much are you thinking for that, sir?
Well, we're thinking maybe $1,000 to $2,000.
Oh.
We also might make a distribution to the people, almost like a dividend to the people of America.
How much are you thinking for that, sir?
Well, we're thinking maybe $1,000 to $2,000.
Okay, just like the Doge checks. Sweet. So $4 trillion to $18 trillion in 2 days. We're going to get $2,000 dividend checks, much like the Doge checks that we were promised that we're supposed to get on February 30th. MAGA, did you get your Doge check on February 30th? I'm not sure if you did. So where's the money? There's an investigation that's been opened up by Senate Democrats saying, you've made these claims that we've taken in $18 trillion, $4 trillion, $17 trillion, $18 trillion, whatever the number is. You've made these claims. Where is it? Because the Treasury doesn't have it. Commerce Department doesn't have it. So one of two things. He's either hid it someplace, I don't know, in a Qatari bank or a Swiss bank or whatever that might be, or he's lying again. So which is it? Which is it? I can't keep the lies straight. Again, as we look to the fact that American citizens will be losing their health care, that women in our country still do not have the rights to their body, depending on where they live, and it's going to get worse, that children are starving, families, and then MAGA conservatives will be like, well, how many children are starving, actually? When you live in the richest nation on earth, the richest nation in world history, if one child starves, that's one too many. I've literally heard that. Well, I mean, how many are we talking about here? How many kids are actually starving? Pro-life Christians, right? how many are actually starving? Is it really that big of a problem? Is it really that big of a problem that women are bleeding out on operating tables or in lobbies? Is it really that big of a problem? But the trans people, which amount to what, 0.04% of our population? But the trans people, again, 0.04% of the population, but the immigrants who contribute billions of dollars in taxes every year. You are safer in a community surrounded by trans people and immigrants than you are surrounded by people who look like me. But the trans people, but the immigrants, but the women, but the marginalized groups, but them. All day, every day. You are safer. If I could right now, I would move into a community surrounded by immigrants, trans people, and women. That's where I would want to live. Period. Full stop. But nope. MAGA thinks that those communities are the ones that are the threat. Those communities are the ones that are harmful. Last time I checked, all those communities that I just mentioned just want to be leave the fuck alone. They, like the rest of us, just want to be miserable with our daily lives. That's it. So, yeah. So here's the president again on similar. This was the same presser.
Russell Vogt said the reductions in force have begun related to this shutdown. How many layoffs have you authorized for this first round, and from which agencies?
And it will be Democrat-oriented because we figure, they started this thing, so they should be Democrat-oriented. It'll be a lot, and we'll announce the numbers over the next couple of days, but it'll be a lot of people. And I must tell you, a lot of them happen to be Democrat-oriented. These are people that the Democrats wanted that in many cases were not appropriate. We fought them at the time, and it was ultimately signed in. And some of these people, these are largely people that the Democrats want. Many of them will be fired.
Russell Vogt.
President of the United States, Democrat people? How would you know that, sir? How come so we're only going to be firing Democrats? So does that mean that the cuts to Medicare, Medicaid that over-index in red states and red congressional districts, you're only going to cut the benefits for people who are Democrats in those communities? Okay. It's good to know. I appreciate that. As we discuss marginalized communities being under threat constantly, this is what the president had to say about crime.
No crime. They said crime's down 87%. They said, no. It's more than 87%. Virtually nothing. And much lesser things that take place in the home they call crime. They'll do anything they can to find something. If a man has a little fight with the wife, they say, this was a crime, see? So now I can't claim 100%. There's no crime.
So a man has a little fight at home with his wife. Notice how he said man and wife? Not husband and wife or man and woman. He said man and wife. Man and wife have a little fight at home and she gets the shit kicked out of her by her fucking predator fucking husband. And I can't call that no crime because, whatever. So domestic violence is okay. We shouldn't worry about that. So back to Sally running up the road, shaking her box. Sally trying to do whatever the fuck she can to escape predators like the president feels like we should just support. It's no big deal. What's a little domestic violence between friends? Okay, that's fine. Exceptional health. I just want to remind folks of a couple things.
Go to a voting booth and you do it the right way, and you go to a state that runs it properly. You go in. They even ask me. They asked me for my license plate for identify. I said.
They ask you for your license plate? Okay.
I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually. When you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me. They asked me for my license plate, for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually. When you go...
I don't travel with my license plate in my pocket. I just don't. I don't know about you guys, but I don't travel with my license plate.
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Just calling in for a brief mod announcement, see if you needed a break, and ask people to...
I'll take it. Sure, I'll take a break.
Marvellous. If you can just tap away at the screen. Particularly, I like to tap on that bit that says Donald J. Trump, because it's like I'm poking him in the face. That makes me smile. And then also join the Discord if you haven't already. I've seen a few people asking about resources today to do with protest art and things like that, and about donations and mutual aid. Come in. We've got marvellous space and channels for all of that. It's really helpful. And it's a good laugh. Nice people. Also, if you want to help the person in our community that we are trying to help because they have no income during this government shutdown, in Steve's bio, Facts bio, he has all of the link to his applications that you can do the financial transactions on. And then we can try and work on our $1 drive to help this community member out. Yeah, I'll let you resume your regularly scheduled programming.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate you very much. You ready?
Thank you. Yeah, ready. Whee!
Appreciate you very much. So yeah, there's that. And this whole thing today just came from the fact that we should demand transparency. And I still see a lot of people in here saying, well, it was about, we don't see the issue. It was the Biden DOJ. Nope. It was not the Biden DOJ or the Biden FBI or the Biden Commerce Department or the Biden anything, because there was no Biden anything at that point. Okay? He was the president-elect, and because Donald Trump, the traitor, had to send a riotous mob to try to overthrow the government, he wants you mouth breathers to believe that it was the Biden FBI. And many of you will believe it. Many of you will believe it. Many of you will look at that statement and say, yeah, it's the truth. No. Nope. It's not the truth. It's not. All right. I've got a few more things that I want to just remind you of the president's competency. Again, it's important to call this out because, listen, is this petty? Is some of this petty? Abso-fucking-lutely. But we listened to it for 4 fucking years. 4 fucking years. Now, if you were to put both candidates side by side, okay? Both men, Biden and Trump, both men side by side. Any objective person would say they're both fucking old. They're both like really just, we should be questioning their physical health to be able to do this job. And they're old. Okay. We can probably both, well, again, I don't expect MAGA to say that because they still see Trump like he's this fucking Adonis, with 6'2", chiseled 225, abs of steel, right? That's what they see. Let's just, for the purpose of this argument, you're saying it wasn't the Biden FBI? User, it can't be the, oh my God. Oh my God. First of all, it would be Youre. It can't, oh my God. I hope you're trolling. It can't be the Biden FBI because there was no Biden FBI on January 6, 2021, because Donald Trump was the president on that date. It would be YOU''RE. And yes, I'm saying it wasn't the Biden FBI because there was no Biden FBI then. Okay. So again, if we were to put both men side by side, okay, objectivity would tell us that neither one of them should be the president because of their age, whatever that might be. Have a fair argument. But I will take Joe Biden 100 days out of 100 just because of the type of human being that he is. A compassionate man, a godly man, a man that truly cared about his country, a human being, someone who was loved and dedicated to his family, who cared about the troops, who didn't do enough for the middle class, but he did more than Donald Trump has ever done. A decent human being, a decent man, with all of his faults, with all of his foibles, with everything else. I would take him 1,000 times out of 1,000 over the twice impeached, 4-time indicted, sexually abusing, fraudster, convicted felon. You can pick any one thing out that Donald Trump has said over the years. And the one that stands out to me is that when you're a star, women let you grab them by the pussy. That's the one that's always stood out to me. Never mind the things that he said. You're right, Jess, a president for all Americans. That's exactly right. Never mind that he said that he has sex in common with his daughter, or that he'd be dating a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, or bragged about walking into locker rooms of teenage girls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's scratching the surface of all the bullshit. You were to put those two men side by side, there's not an objective person alive that would not take Joe Biden's character over Donald Trump's lack thereof. Full stop. TikTok won't let me open it? Interesting. The indivisible link in my link tree is not working. Not surprised by that. Okay. Here's the cognitive deficiencies on full display. Hold on a second.
Words, I had the best words. In 1870, President Ulysses S. Grant, that beautiful Orion space capsule, the combat infantryman badge our nation as a sovereign country. A lot of work has been done, a lot of renovation. If you look at some of it, defensive missions and missiles, your devotion for us, then you will gain momentum. Heroin alone, if you look at the heroin epidemic, the federal government is conducting an aggressive investigation and to delegitimize. As bad as it is, it meant something by an anonymous.
Anyway. So we're talking about, you guys. The absolute incompetence of anyone on the Republican side of the aisle to call this bullshit out. Anyone. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, talking about how the president, the Speaker of the House, the Senate Majority Leader have responsibility for shutting down the government. It is on them. It is on them. So I want to play this interaction between George Stephanopoulos and J.D. Vance. And this is how the mainstream media should be addressing this administration. I know they're afraid. I get it. Because again, it's all about the fucking money. I get it. I understand. It's all about that. It's always about that. Advertising dollars, et cetera, et cetera. But this is how it should be addressed. So J.D. Vance joining George Stephanopoulos on one of the weekend shows, and you can hear the questions and then his response.
Why is working in the administration?
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure.
First of all, JD, why the fuck would that matter, you pathetic fuck? Jesus.
Sure, I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has not.
What? Is it illegal for what?
Not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing.
Do you know why you haven't seen evidence? JD, do you know why? You haven't seen the evidence? It's because your fucking DOJ killed it. Your DOJ killed it. So I'm sorry I kept interrupting, but I'll go back to the beginning. I'll just play the thing in its entirety.
Why is working in the administration?
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash. Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Nobody has accused Tom of violating a crime, even the far left media like yourself. So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is that he didn't violate a crime.
How do you know?
So you don't, what was caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money?
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next, we'll be right back.
And then he cut him right the fuck off. The story goes, friends, that there is an audio, maybe audio or video recording of Tom Homan literally taking a bag of cash, $50,000 in a brown paper bag, promising access to the administration, promising all kinds of sweetheart deals. There's audio and again, I don't know if there's video, but apparently there's audio captured. So people who do law enforcement, people say, well, it was a witch hunt. Well, no, because if you get a tip about a crime, you investigate. So the FBI got wind of Tom Homan, and they knew that Tom Homan was somebody who was on the list of people that may be part of the cabinet. Whether or not he was or not, still a crime is going to be investigated. Okay? So the FBI gets a tip. They set up a sting operation. That's what you do. They captured Tom Homan accepting said bribe, $50,000 in cash, in a bag of cash, in a paper bag of cash. Okay? And the Trump DOJ killed it. And for J.D. Vance to go up there and do what he just did tells you exactly what the truth is, that they know that Tom Homan took a bag of cash and they just don't know how to spin out of it. Stephen, yes, who was the president during January 6th? You're right, Stephen. Who was the president during January 6th? Stephen. Right, so you understand what's going on here. Do people not get what this is? I'm sorry, I'll pivot for a second. Do people not get what this is? This is Donald Trump on his Truth Social yesterday morning at 12:38 a.m. saying that the Biden DOJ placed 274 agents into the crowd in J6. Do people not know what that is? Do people need that explanation? Now, I know in general, we have the smartest chat on TikTok. There's no doubt about that. But are there people in here that don't get it? Like, I don't understand. Bag of cash. Right. So, J.D. Vance, here's the sound again. This is just fucking wild.
Which is why he's working in the administration.
I'm asking you, did he accept the $50,000 that was caught on the surveillance tape? Did he accept that $50,000 or not?
Okay, so the facts again. Caught on surveillance. That's what we know, that there was a sting operation set up. You're tired. I'm tired too, John. That there was a sting operation set up that captured him taking a bribe. Okay? Captured him taking a bribe. And JD doesn't do the best job moving away from it because of what he says next.
George, I don't know what you're talking about. Did he accept $50,000 for what?
For what? So, JD, wouldn't you want to know? Millions and tens, hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars went into investigating Hunter Biden selling artwork. Claims that Hunter Biden used an influence campaign to set Ukrainian politics. None of it was ever proven true. Investigated, by the way, during the Biden administration as well. Hunter Biden indicted and convicted during the Biden administration. MAGA, conservatives. You think Donald Trump Jr. or Eric? Well, maybe Eric. Definitely Eric. You think Donald Trump Jr. or Ivanka would be investigated during the Trump administration? Fuck no. So all we're talking about is investigate the crime.
He was recorded on an audio tape in September 2024, an FBI surveillance tape, accepting $50,000 in cash.
Right.
Did he keep that money?
Accepting $50,000 for doing what, George? I'm not even sure I understand the question. Is it illegal to take a payment for doing services? The FBI has...
Is it illegal? Hey, JD, you're a lawyer. Is it illegal for someone taking payments for services? Gee, I don't know. If I meet somebody down a dark alley and I'm taking a bag of cash, what are those services, JD?
Not prosecuted him. I've never seen any evidence that he's engaged in criminal wrongdoing. Nobody has accused Tom of violating a crime, even the far left media like yourself. So I'm actually not sure what the precise question is. Did he accept $50,000? Honestly, George, I don't know the answer to that question.
That's why we want to have investigated, JD. That's why. There's allegations of a crime, JD. There's allegations of a crime. That's why we want to have it investigated. Okay.
What I do know is that he didn't violate a crime.
So you don't, what was caught on the tape, you're saying right now you don't know whether or not he kept that money?
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program and why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government.
Wait, your boss just said he's going to just pay the troops, even though we know that that's a lie. So did you guys talk before you did this interview?
You're focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down.
Wait, I thought our country was hot. We just brought in $18 trillion or $4 trillion or $14 trillion or $17 trillion. I thought our country was hot. Are we struggling? You guys might want to get your lies. You guys might want to check in every single morning. Okay, everybody, rally. All right, let's rally around the cauldron. Okay, everybody have their lies in order today? Okay, the lies are in order. It's the Schumer government shutdown, even though we know it's not, right? Everybody good on that? Cool. The bag of cash, what are we going to say? We don't know. There's rumors of an innuendo, but Tom Homan has not denied it. So what are we going to do? How are we going to spin that one? Everybody come up with their own lie and then report back to me in a half an hour. Everybody break.
Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
How do you know? It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
And he cuts him off. I fucking love that shit. That's how we need to address this shit. We have to cover the president because he's the president. Like, I don't always like to do it every day, but it's necessary, right? But there needs to be more of that shit, which is why I wish I had press credentials. Damn it. Oh my God. Seriously, that would be like a wish list. Okay, I've got a few more little bits of sound that I want to play for you because these things are just disturbing. So in case you guys didn't know, so as somebody who grew up, in marketing and messaging, I understand what spin is. I understand how you have to address something by lying, especially if you're caught. So the administration is doing everything they can to try to blame the Donald Trump and MAGA Republican government shutdown on Democrats because they know that most of their voters are too stupid to know any better. They will believe whatever the talking point is. Just like that live I was in over the weekend when I said, well, they're like, they thought they had me in a gotcha. They're like, so why do you think the government shut down? I said, well, because Republicans and government. Oh, no. I thought you would know this. I thought you were smart. I thought you were Factsstillmatter. Well, there's the filibuster. And I'm like, well, yeah, but do you know what the nuclear option is? And they're like, what? I'm like, the nuclear option. Do you guys not? I mean, I was super condescending and petty. It was kind of fun. I'm like, do you guys not know what the nuclear option is? Aren't you supposed to be the expert they brought up on the panel to debunk me? And you don't know what the nuclear option is? What is it? And I read to them the nuclear option and told them exactly what it was and how it was just recently used. How they was literally just recently used a few weeks back by John Thune. And they're like, well, that doesn't apply here. I said, why doesn't that apply here? And they couldn't have an answer. So they're desperate to try to pin this on Democrats, and they're failing miserably. The polling they're upside down on this issue. Overwhelming majority of Americans, right, left, and center, blame Republicans and Trump for this more than Democrats. I think the last numbers I checked was like 53% blame Republicans and Donald Trump, and like 32% blame Democrats. So it's a winning issue for Democrats, even though it's painful. Even people in their districts, even though it's painful, it's still a winning issue. So in an attempt to try to change the story and the narrative, Kristi Noem is now doing advertisements in airports across the country. And this is the ad.
It is TSA's top priority to make sure that you have the most pleasant and efficient airport experience as possible while we keep you safe. However, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government. And because of this, many of our operations are impacted, and most of our TSA employees are working without pay. We will continue to do all that we can to avoid delays that will impact your travel. And our hope is that Democrats will soon recognize the importance of opening the government.
All Things Alicia, you just nailed it. Hearts in the chat for All Things Alicia, because she's absolutely right. This is state media. This is what they do in North Korea. This is what they do in Russia. This is what they do in any oppressive society. This is state-run media. They're fucking lying to you. They are lying. It's not about, oftentimes, the typical lies and propaganda. Remember how we went through the exercise last week of propaganda, disinformation, and misinformation? I'm going to give you guys a chance to do the retake, because if I were to grade it on the curve, most of you would fail. It's not easy. Again, I was trained in media, and it's not easy these days to disseminate between propaganda, disinformation, and misinformation. Simple thing to think about is this. Disinformation is intentional. So what Kristi Noem is saying there is a lie. That's disinformation. Somebody that's intentionally deceiving someone, right? Misinformation would be somebody sharing that information, saying Kristi Noem told me, and then believing it to be true. Not intentionally perpetuating the lie. You're being told something that you believe to be true. What she is doing is disinformation. What authoritarian regimes do is they sprinkle in some propaganda, connect it with disinformation, and then they use their resources to spew out their bullshit. Okay? Okay? So that's what's happening. Now, for her to do that with taxpayer dollars, by the way, could it be propaganda too? Yeah, I mean, propaganda is a little bit different, but this is disinformation, okay? We can talk about, well, I guess we'll have to do that again. Anyway, this is disinformation, okay? So this is a Hatch Act violation, for one. Somebody said that. You could make the case that you could avoid Hatch Act because it wasn't technically on government property, although you could make the argument that TSA employees are federal employees, so there's some gray area there. But this is state-run media. That is propaganda, disinformation, whatever you want to call it. It is dangerous, and it's because they are so desperate to protect the fucking predators that are in the e-files that's what they're doing. So it's a lie. Okay? Let me find some other sound that I wanted to play for you guys because I think it's relevant to where I want to go next with our conversation today. Is it this one? Hold on. Yes.
And we've made it one.
Hold on. All right. So this is the speech talking about government, big government. Hold on. Let me just check on something, friends. We are, let's see. I'm doing some quick math in my head because of your kindness and generosity today. We are $104 away from $400. So if we can get a few more people to donate $1, we can hit that number, and let's see how far we can move that needle this week. So again, we're raising money for a military family who's not going to get paid on the 15th because of the Donald Trump MAGA Republican government shutdown. So if you'd like to help out, $1, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, we're $104 away from $400. So again, proceeds will go to benefit this family. And then any items sold in the merch store this week, either today through Friday, all the proceeds from those sales will go directly to this family as well. All right. The Venmo is at Factsstillmatter. All of my pay apps, all the appetizers on the app are at Factsstillmatter. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Thank you. All right. So this is from Inauguration Day.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Wow, that's wild. Okay, then there's this. This was just a few days ago.
We've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. I've never seen anything like it.
What was that?
We took the freedom of speech away.
What was that?
We took the freedom of speech away.
What was that?
We took the freedom of speech away. We took the freedom of speech away.
Okay, cool. I thought that's what you said. I just want to remind myself what it is that you said on Inauguration Day. Just want to make sure I heard that right.
Years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression. I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So just a few more things here. So Mike Johnson has been getting grilled. Now he's losing support. I know that recently that there was a meeting with MTG because MTG has been very, very critical, saying that I don't blame the president for this. I blame the Speaker of the House. I blame the Senate Majority Leader because it's true. Those are the people to blame. So he's gone on his various news channels over the weekend, some safe, some not so safe, but he's asked this question and I'm going to fucking debunk it in real time with you guys.
Why won't you swear her in?
Yeah. I mean, again, they're becoming experts at distraction and red herrings. This has absolutely nothing to do about Epstein.
Somebody just asked, the shop link for merch, you can find the merch. The merch store is as factsstillmatter.site, or you can find Facts HQ as the link. You can find the link in the link tree in my bio, but factsstillmatter.site. There's a lot of really cool merch in there, including some ones that will be launched today that look like this, specifically around the No Kings protests, the music festivals, like I said, Nope, I love that one a lot. This one's my favorite. The only orange monarch that we want. We also have a new version of the Women Don't Owe You Shit shirt. They'll also be in the merch store. There's a whole bunch of other items in there as well. But yeah, so there's that. Let's go back to this real quick. Hold on. Yeah, I know, Kipper. You're right. There's this.
This is a scheduling matter. This is just a matter.
So the question was asked, why won't you just swear her in? Hold on, sorry. I'm distracted. Here we go.
Why won't you swear her in?
Yeah. I mean, again, they're becoming experts at distraction and red herrings. This has absolutely nothing to do about Epstein. This is a scheduling matter. This is just a matter of the schedule.
I understand, and that makes perfect sense until we look back and see that there have been Republicans sworn in during pro forma sessions. So why should it be different for a Democrat?
Ha.
A great question. There was a unique exception made when the two Florida representatives.
Oh, so you can make exceptions, Mike. Got it.
Were sworn in earlier this year after winning a special election. And the only reason we did that is because it was previously noticed for that date and they flew all their families and friends in for the ceremony. So because they were here and the session got canceled, we just went ahead and did it because their families were here. That's the main purpose of it. But,
so if she flies in her family, would you guys do it?
All of us, she'll get the full bells and whistles. It hasn't
you understand
been
how this
scheduled
works,
because
right?
we don't schedule.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit, shall we? Because I was really, really curious about this. Let's see here. Hold on a second. All right. Hold on. During the current standoff over the swearing of Democrat Adelita Grijalva, critics have pointed out the fact that Speaker Mike Johnson previously administered the oath to Republican members during pro forma sessions and used that as basis to accuse him of a double standard. Two representatives, Randy Fine from Florida and Jimmy Petronis, also from Florida, both Republican, were sworn in during a pro forma session shortly after their special election victories. The swearing in occurred 24 hours after their win, even though the House was not in full session that day. Pro forma. Speaker Johnson defended the move, saying they had scheduled a day for the oath they had scheduled a day for the oath, and that though the House was out of session, he went ahead with the administration during what was normally a pro forma session. Again, the fucking lies that are being told to protect predators. So now that we know that the pro forma session, which means that the House is technically not in session, Mike Johnson could literally swear her in tomorrow. She is a duly elected representative from Arizona. She won her election by over 40 points. By over 40 points. The hypocrisy and the lies that he just told are mind-boggling. I want to play the sound again. Do I still have it up? Yeah, here you go again. I want you to listen to this again. Now that you know what the pro forma was, and I'm glad the reporter called him out.
Why won't you swear her in?
Yeah. I mean, again, they're becoming experts at distraction and red herrings. This has absolutely nothing to do about Epstein. This is a scheduling matter. This is just a matter of the schedule.
I understand, and that makes perfect sense until we look back and see that there have been Republicans sworn in during pro forma sessions. So why should it be different for a Democrat?
A great question. There was a unique exception made when the two Florida representatives were sworn in earlier this year after winning a special election. And the only reason we did that is because it was previously noticed for that date and they flew all their families and friends in for the ceremony. So because they were here and the session got canceled, we just went ahead and did it because their families were here. That's the main purpose of it. But,
so if she flies in her family, would you guys do it?
All of us, she'll get the full bells and whistles. It hasn't been scheduled because we don't schedule.
So, again, let's think about this for a second. Okay? The government is not open so that MAGA Republicans can do everything they can to avoid the 218 signature being on the discharge petition. The discharge petition would force a floor vote on the release of the e-files. So, by the way, creators, if you're watching me today, and also if you're posting content, it really does seem like the algorithm has been triggered for your videos that include the word E and not the abbreviation for EJE. Your videos are getting suppressed like crazy. So just be mindful of that. Use code words, or I can assign a mod from my family to kick you in the shins. So I've been pretty good today, right, guys? I've been pretty good today. Anyway, that's why. So they are lying to the American public about their health care. They're lying to the American public about the president paying members of the military. That's a lie. All because they all know that Trump's name is all over that fucking thing. And I mentioned this earlier. There's talk of a Republican jailbreak. Okay? The Republican jailbreak would be that once they get the signature, because they will, he can't keep the House out of session forever. Okay? It's going to have to happen because then there's nobody else to blame. Democrats have nothing to do with this. Not a damn thing. Nothing. And to be honest, I am really impressed by the solidarity at from the Democrats. I'm going to talk about the DNC in just a moment in regards to Zohran Mamdani because I was pleasantly surprised by something. Okay? He's going to try, but he can't. So the House is scheduled to be closed all week because they don't want to be in town when the DC No Kings protest kicks in. They don't want to. They're plotting, Farmer John, I would agree. They're probably doing everything they can to remove every reference to Donald Trump from the files. But as it's noted in the, let me see if I can find that real quick. Do I have it still pulled up? Yes, I think I do. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, which is HR, I've read this before, I won't go through the whole thing, House Res 581. Okay? House Res 581 is for a short title, the E-Files Transparency Act. One of the distinctive pieces that really stood out for me was something that I thought was really, really interesting. Let's see. Prohibited grounds for withholding. No record shall be withheld, delayed, or redacted on the basis of any of the following: embarrassment, reputational harm, political sensitivity, including to any government official, public figure, or foreign dignitary. Also, throughout this entire documentation, all redactions must be accompanied by written justification published in the Federal Register and submitted to Congress, meaning that if you redact something or if something's missing, you, Pam Bondi, DOJ, you guys have got to provide context, explanations as to why. You need to sign off on it, and you need to submit that as part of the congressional record as well. So they're stuck. They are stuck, and they know it, and they're trying to use everything they can in their authoritarian playbook, including lying to the American people about Chicago. And this sort of thought popped into my head. MAGA men, if you think the left is so weak and are beta, then why the fuck are you afraid of blue cities? If you think that everybody who lives in blue cities are just soy boys and betas and blue-haired leftists who can't do shit, why the fuck are you so afraid of left-leaning cities then? Why are you all up in your fifis? Why do you feel like you need to have the National Guard in there? Why? Yeah, exactly. Why are you scared of Chicago? Back in PDX? No, I think you are. You're back in PDX. You guys are afraid of everything. Back in PDX, you guys are afraid of flags. You guys are afraid of paper masks. You guys are afraid of books. You're afraid of men who paint their fingernails. You're afraid of, like I said, books. You're afraid of needles. Oh, I'm sorry. You're afraid of batteries and magnets. Oh, I'm sorry. You're afraid of facts. You're so scared. You're so afraid. Bathrooms. Windmills. Sharks. Rainbows. Taylor Swift. Education, science, You're afraid of all of it. You get so emotional. Tampons. You guys are afraid of tampons. Bad Bunny. Bathrooms. You look at the soy milk. Women, for sure, women. Compassion, empathy, Tylenol. The list goes on and on. You guys are afraid of all these things. And yet, we're the betas? Vegetables? Clean butt cracks? You guys are definitely afraid of those. It's wild. So I just want to point it out to you. Bud Light, it's really, really wild. I want to point it out to you, MAGA, because I see a few of you chirping in the chat here. The only reason that MAGA Mike does not want to bring the House back in session is because it's going to force a vote. He's going to get the signature. It's going to force a vote on the Epstein files. And that means that everybody's on it because we don't give a fuck who's on it. We don't fucking care. One in the chat, friends. A one in the chat if you don't give a fuck who's on it. You want it all out, right? Everybody. We don't give a fuck who's on the list. We don't fucking care. Put a one in the chat if you don't fucking care. See? We don't fucking care. We want everybody involved. Round it up. Yeah, you're not afraid of Grindr. Good call out. We want everybody involved. Arrested. Due process, because we believe in due process. We want everybody, if there's allegations of crimes against children, the crimes against children that you claim to care about so much, anybody who's connected with crimes against children, we would like a case introduced. We would like them tried. And if convicted, we want them thrown under the jail. Why is it so difficult for you guys to accept that too? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, I guess that's just us. That maybe we're the ones that actually care about this shit. Do I have anything else that I wanted to play on this particular sound? What did I say I was going to talk about? Oh, this. You guys know that I'm not a fan of the DNC. I'm not a fan of status quo Democrats. And the reason I'm not is because the Democrats are moving further right, which is why people are losing support, losing an appetite for them. Okay? Now, what we do know is that policies in general that are supported by Democrats align with what the majority of Americans want. The problem is a little bit of infighting within the Democratic Party. So I was pleasantly surprised when Ken Martin, who is the chairperson of the DNC, came out and said Democratic National Committee Chair Ken Martin encourages New Yorkers to vote for Mamdani ahead of the general election in New York. The DNC chair has spoken positively about Mamdani's campaign in the past, saying Democrats are better served by a broad coalition. DNC chair Ken Martin on Friday encouraged New Yorkers to vote for Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic nominee in the New York City mayoral race, just weeks ahead of Election Day. Quote, he's running to make New York City more affordable for everyone and has captured the nation's attention with his incredible campaign, Martin said, who was elected by fellow Democrats to his position earlier this year. He wrote in a post on X, a thread highlighting down-ballot Democratic candidates with elections coming up soon. Go vote for Zohran this November. The vocal support comes as other national Democrats, including New York Senator Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, and New York Rep. Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, have so far declined to endorse Mamdani. Hakeem, Mr. Jeffries, if you're listening, Chuck Schumer, if you're listening, fuck the both of you too if you don't get your fucking shit together. Okay? Don't just expect people to be okay with this. Do something. This is what the party wants. Hakeem, we like you. We think you could be a good leader, but listen to your party. Listen to what people are saying. Listen to what the voters are saying. This is the shit that we want. We want affordable housing. We want free public transportation. We want to look at election integrity. We want to look at how we can support our marginalized communities. Do you understand? We look at you as a vessel, quite frankly, Hakeem and Chuck. We look at you as vessels. We look at you guys as public transportation. We will vote for you because it will get us closer to where we go, and then we'll take it from here. And then we'll find more people like Zohran Mamdani. people who generally care about the things that the rest of us care about. Once again, we care more about the health care for marginalized communities than the right does. We care more about health care for their own families than they do. The people want Mamdani, and he's going to win in a landslide. It's going to be a blowout. So you've got an opportunity, Hakeem, right now. Right now, because I like you, but I don't trust you. I'm sorry, I just don't. If you were in my district, I would vote for you because I'm all about harm reduction, because that's what the Democrats need to do more. Stop fucking pearl clutching, looking for your perfect fucking candidate. But I'm going to be critical of you because you're not doing what you should be doing, listening to the left of your party. You keep inching further and further right, Hakeem. We want you to go this way. Okay? Yeah, no more strongly worded letters, exactly. We want you to go this way. Listen to, or this way, my left. Your right, my left. We want you to go where the party is telling you to go. So good for Ken Martin. I'm still a little bit lukewarm about Ken. I want progressive down ballot candidates. We all should, because progress is what we all need. Progressive candidates will help us solve the things that we want to solve. And, by the way, that's what the majority of Americans want. Women's rights to their body is an overwhelmingly supported issue from state to state nationwide. It's elected Republicans who are lying to their voters. Period. Responsible gun legislation, overwhelming support across all political spectrums. It's the NRA and MAGA Republicans who love that money and who love that check who won't get it. Now, if President Trump was involved as much as he wants us to believe in getting the war between Israel and Gaza settled, then I will give him absolute credit for that, because I'm sick and tired of seeing people die. I'm tired of seeing innocent children being starved. And there was somebody who used to be a friend of the show who is no longer a friend of the show, because I don't deal with people who still think the justification, even though I'll leave it at that. If he did what he said he did, and he was that influential in getting this situation resolved, then I will support him. And I'll say thank you for that, because I'm tired of people, of children losing their lives. Okay? See, Rage, you're missing the point. See, Rage, I don't know who you vote for. I don't know how you vote, but this is part of the problem. Okay? Do you vote Democrat? Are you not going to show up? This is my point. If you're looking for perfection, you're not going to find it in politics. So ask yourself, if you're faced with a prospect of saying, oh, well, Hakeem took AIPAC money. Yeah, a lot of Democrats did. I fucking understand that. But what happened in 2024 will happen again if you use that as your only issue. Do you understand? Look at the Democratic Party as public transportation, to steal Victoria's line. Look at them as just that. They are a means to an end. I'm going to reduce harm by voting for this because I'm going to demand change in our system. And I just don't know if enough people have the courage to do it. And I want to know why. Stop clutching the fucking pearls. Seriously, just stop. Stop clutching the fucking pearls. There's no such thing as a perfect political candidate. Stop looking for it. Remove your own filter. Stop pearl clutching. I was recently asked about the purple revolution. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. I'm not interested. I've been approached by many, many people. You should join. Nope, not going to see me join. For the purple revolution, what it is, they say it's a lot of people that are sort of in the middle, right? It's about combinations of leftists and conservatives who want to unite. Fuck that. It's bullshit. Fuck that. Nope. You want revolution? I'll give you revolution. Show the fuck up and vote. 70%. I'd love to see it. 70%. So my dream about traveling the country, and there's more details that are coming and working on a bunch of shit. My dream is to go into... let me back up a second. I look at the undecided voter or the non-participant voter. I put them in two distinct categories. Okay? And guesstimates are that's around 90 million people who registered to vote who regularly do not vote. Okay? That's what they say. I guess that's probably a reasonable number, right? Registered voters who didn't vote. I'm not sure if it's quite that high, but let's just, for the purpose of this conversation, let's assume that it is. So 90 million people that didn't vote. I look at non-voters in two distinct camps. The both sidesers, I think it's lazy. I think it's an excuse. People say, well, two wings of the same bird, blah, 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 blah. That's a cop-out. That's an excuse. And then the other group would be people that truly feel disenfranchised by the system. They really don't think their vote counts. They really don't see anybody looking out for them. They feel like they're just lost, that they're a forgotten statistic. That's real. Those are the people that I want to talk to. Those people could be conservative. They're definitely not MAGA, because if they were MAGA, they would vote. They're not MAGA, okay? They're likely a conservative, here's the line, right? Conservative Republican, conservative Democrat. They fall into that category. Okay, those are people that are hardworking blue-collar folks who've just been lied to or feel like they've been lied to, right? Who feel like that they're just a number, that they just want to feed their family. They just want to protect their communities. They're concerned about their way of life, whatever that might be. Those people are gettable voters. Those are the folks that I want to talk to. The Purple Revolution, they don't give a fuck about them. They just want to make a statement. So, again, for any of you who are now part of the Purple Revolution, don't bother reaching out to me because I'll just tell you to fuck off as well. Not interested. Not interested. Have I become a little bit cynical? Yeah, I have. I'll admit that. I don't like living in the cynical skin, but I'm so tired of performative bullshit. I'm so tired of people trying to make these statements. No. Your statement is showing the fuck up. Entitled leftists, get over yourself with AIPAC. Fucking get over it. Get over it. Get fucking over it. Okay? We need to protect marginalized communities in our fucking country. We need to protect women who are basically fucking incubators. We need to protect kids who are starving in schools. We need to defend education. We need to defend human rights. So fuck it. Harm reduction. If you're not motivated by a candidate, then look at them both and say, okay, not perfect. I don't agree with this necessarily, but they're going to certainly harm our society a hell of a lot less. Seriously, people who are subscribers to our show, who watch us every single day, if you fall into that, I'm a no because of AIPAC, then I'm sorry, you're missing the fucking plot here. You're missing the fucking plot. It's one of the reasons that Kamala lost. There's quite a few, but that's one. It's one of the reasons that she lost. Is because people said, I don't like the way that I don't like her policies towards Israel. I didn't either, but I voted for her proudly. And that's why we're here now, which is why I say repeatedly, we deserved Trump. We got what we paid for, so to speak. We got what we paid for. Rage, I understand. Your children are marginalized. They are first-gen Palestinians. I get that. We want what's a brighter future for them. Do you understand? And if you don't vote because of your concern about AIPAC, then nothing is going to change. You need to understand there's people that want to vote with you to help your children who are marginalized as first-generation Palestinians. I need you to really take a step back and think about that for a second. There are tens of millions of Americans that want the respect that your family deserves. And I understand that the AIPAC thing bothers you. Bothers the fuck out of me too. But what is the alternative? I'm just asking you to think about it differently, okay? I hope that helps. Just think about it differently. Harm reduction at the end of the day. If that's all you've got, then harm reduction is the way to go. I'm going to do one more push today, friends, before we wrap. Again, any and all item from the merch store, you can find the merch store either at factsstillmatter.site or just go to the link in the link tree in my bio. You're looking for Facts HQ. It will take you right to the Facts store. Whole bunch of other stuff over there. If you want to subscribe there, go for it. But please, any and all proceeds from any item from the merch store sold this week will go directly to support a military family that we're going to try to help out because they're not going to get paid on the 15th. Also, $1 a day. I want to thank you guys. We're 12, 14, $17. Is that 17? $27 short of $400 that we've raised today. So we'll just keep. We're gonna run it back. We're gonna see how this goes over the course of this week. When we get to the 15th, which is what, day after tomorrow, I'd love to be able to give them a gift that could help them pay their mortgage. Okay. So again, this is what we do around here. This is what we do. So if you want to donate $1 a day, you can find all my pay apps. They're all the same at Factsstillmatter. This is something we talk about, how we do something. $1 is not going to break us. Okay. $1 is not going to break us. I'm going to kick in 100 because I said if we got the first $100 we would put in, I'd match it. So I'm going to kick that in. So that now puts us above that number. So let's see how high we can get it. So again, there's 1,100 people in here right now. If you haven't yet donated, how about $1 before we end at noon? $1 at Factsstillmatter, at Cash App, PayPal, and Venmo. All right, I've got Heather. I'll bring her up. Victoria, I'm probably not going to get to you. I'm sorry, friend. Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I was thinking about the Democratic, the Puritan thing, and the whole
test.
Where I think I got that got started was during the Hillary Trump Bernie campaign, and Jill Stein had a lot to do with that. Because she literally hijacked Bernie's campaign at the convention. And then on top of that, started throwing out all the Hillary bad talking points. And she really inspired this puritanistic mentality of progressives that want the perfect candidate. And you'll never find the perfect candidate, but you have to go for the candidate that gets us closest to the goal. And that's what I think people have a hard time understanding.
Correct. Yep. Again, public transportation. Public transportation. We've got to stop this. This is a call to arms. It's a call to arms for leftists. We're, for the most part, we're all. And I'm going to drop you down, Heather, because I've got a wrap anyway. But thanks for being here today, friend.
That's
I appreciate
fine.
you. See you later.
No problem.
We're going to agree. We're going to agree on 99% of shit. Ideologically, we're going to care about education reform. We're going to care about court reform. We want to tax the churches. You know the list: overfunding public education, community safety, community support for violent crime. Let me back up. The ability to address mental health issues by not over policing and instead providing resources for communities. All those things. Okay, all those things. Kamala didn't win because she's a woman and not white. No, Regina, as a whole, don't take it personally, Regina. As a whole, we deserve Trump. Okay? Again, Regina, don't take this personally. Okay? As a whole, as a nation, we deserve Trump because we collectively, as a nation, didn't do enough to stop it. We didn't do enough. We didn't show up to vote, which again speaks to radical or the leftists, right? They didn't show up. So again, Regina, don't take it personally. This is an example, friends, right now in one of these moments where we have to accept the fact that when we struggled to get 63 to 64% of people to vote, right? Right? If we can do that, if we can't get that number up above 65 or 70, then yes, we deserved it. 90 million people that didn't show up to vote who were registered. Yes, we deserve it. Okay? So don't take it personally and just do better. All right, friends. We're going to raid. Let's go raid Olive. Tell her we said hello. Thank you all for being here. Like I said, we'll do this. We'll continue this tomorrow. And another reminder that items in the merch store. Thank you for that, Sam. The No Kings merch not yet up on the site, but will be later today, including another version of the Women Don't Owe You Shit shirt will also be posted. I love you guys. Okay, this is a fight that we're in. This is a fight that we're in, and I hope that the way in which we report on the news to remind you that we're just being lied to every single day, and I can be objective to say, yeah, I'm not a fan of bullshit coming from the White House. I'm not a fan of the fucking cowards that don't stand up to this bullshit. That's on us then. I expect Saturday to be a big day, and again, white men in particular. It's a call to you. My expectation is you will be front and center on Saturday morning, standing there arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow with marginalized communities, putting yourself in harm's way. Use your fucking privilege. Thank you guys. We're going to rate Olive. You guys are the smartest chat on TikTok. Mods, you guys are the fucking best. I love you all.